That was a
Good
killer
morning,
intro.
good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to a special pre-recorded, maybe holiday version of the Gaming Circle podcast, GCP for those who know. I am your co-host, Mr. K Asante, TKO Asante on Xbox, PlayStation, all the places you want to chat with me. And of course, I am joined as usual, as I appreciate the man every time he joins me, my brother from another, the man who is out here, who is what, 3,000 Legion strong now on the Twitter streets, Mr. Everborn Saga. How you doing this evening, sir?
I'm all right. Now, the question is, how many of those people that follow me are bots? And then when you answer that question, you have to ask, what kind of bot am I referring to?
He's being very cerebral for you. Good job, man. But you know what? Let me introduce my returning champion to the show. This man needs no introduction. But of course, since he's getting a lot of heat these days on the streets, we here at GCP say we stand with the brother.
Now, thank you, brother.
Most people don't understand his brand of humor, but I consider him the Dave Chappelle of the gaming streets. I think he's one of the funniest dudes doing it.
That's the highest praise you could give me, and I do not deserve that. But
he brings that hardcore satire with biting critique. You know, sometimes I agree with the man, sometimes but still, at the end of the day, you can see it's very well thought out and very well reasoned, and he's delivering it to you. So I appreciate him joining me, the Sauce Master himself. Game on Davis Gaz. What's going on, brother? How you doing? There you go. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Add Clap that for myself. That's how sad I am.
Right. No, come on. We appreciate it. You're adding the color. We appreciate that. Thank you for being here, man. I know that the time we're recording makes it difficult for any of us to get anything done, but you're here and we appreciate you. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm really happy to be here, and your VR gameplay is distractingly massively. Yeah, some of the ADHD, right. It's not good. But yeah, I'm great to be here. You caught me at a good time where all the sources unleashing upon everyone. So yeah, it's a good time. Good time to be here, and good as always to chill with Everborn, man.
Oh, thank you. It's so good to have you here, man. So we will get this started now. Now, just so folks know, of course, this is a pre-recorded show. This will hopefully be a brisk 90-minute show. We will have two topics that will lead into each other, and we will be dropping this in the future. So, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and all that. But because of that, we're hoping that the content will be a bit more evergreen, might not be related to the exact topic at hand, but still, since this is our show and we do it regularly as we always do, we will start with some games that we have been playing. Mr. Gaz, what games have been keeping you really busy as of late? What games are you really, really focused on?
So, actually, I've stopped as a policy now after like prestiging on COD in 2 days, and I was just like, okay, for me, this is a waste of my time if I commit myself to multiplayer games so much now. So I've made a very regrettably conscious decision to play single player games now. So now I'm playing everything. So I've been playing High on Life. I've been playing. The thing, the multi thing on Xbox is it's like crack. You just skip between games. I'm playing High on Life. Then I was playing Callisto Protocol, which is actually another good game. Reviews don't reflect the quality, in my opinion. It's a great game. Then I've been playing Red Dead 2, and I'm freaking trying to play Miles Morales on PlayStation. All of these right now. This week I've played already. And it's such an annoying position to be in, and a good one at the same time.
Yeah, so you are what Pong Soul and a lot of us call a grazer. Like myself, I play a bunch of games at the same time. So
yeah, grazer, yeah.
Yes, you dabble in multiple, and the unfortunate nature of that is sometimes if one stops losing its interest, you drop it, and then you supplement it with another. There's always at least 4 or 5 in the rotation, right?
Exactly that. There's also what mood you're in as well. Like Callisto Protocol is like more horror. And you're like playing at night. I'm like, I do play at night because it adds to it. you get more shit scared, especially with a game that has such a mad audio feedback. But not as good as Dead Space 1 and 2. That game had more cerebral scares that really played on you because the whispers were so well implemented. It's one of those games actually before Hellblade that really did audio quite well. But yeah, so
I haven't gotten into it. I hear that people have been saying that they were hoping that it was more an evolution of Dead Space, but it's more cloney of Dead Space. It's a little bit less than what they expected. What are your thoughts on that?
I think so. I think that's a fair assessment in that. But whilst because what people really were expecting was a game that was definitively going to outdo Dead Space because it was brought by the same team. Dead Space, the remake, is actually coming out soon, whenever, and right next to the release of Callisto Protocol as well. So now you've got this odd position where they're going head to head to kind of settle the argument, and this one's quite interesting.
It looks like
original
the
team
remake
that
might win it, huh?
Well, but that's the thing. There's enough in Callisto Protocol. They took risks with the combat system. Some bits not well implemented, and there are some pretty basic missteps there.
I've heard people compare the combat system to what do you call it? The old Nintendo game, boxing game.
Rumble. What was it?
Punch Out. That Punch Out. But you know,
Mike that Punch Out.
They say that's the combat
it's more
system.
than that. No, okay, mechanically maybe, but really, when you play the game, it's not just about that. It's also the auditory visual feedback. It's really good. The feel of it, despite it being mechanically supported,
it looks graphically insane. It looks amazing.
The graphics definitely help with that. And all the blood splatter of the traps around everything. Have you played it?
I've played bits and pieces of it, but I haven't gotten into it. I have so many, like you're saying, we're grazing. I have so many games that I'm in the middle of that I know that adding this will just dilute the brand. So I gotta wait until I have some space and time to really devote to it. So,
time, man.
Now I'm kind of it's one of those things. It's definitely one of those things. But we will get into. We will get into High on Life in a minute because that will lead into a bigger discussion. But before we do, Mr. Evermore Saga, do you have anything new to add to the mix that you have been playing, sir, or is yours also High on Life?
Just High on Life for now.
Okay.
And I actually have not played it since Saturday because work is something.
It's killing you. Yes, I understand. Yes.
But we're getting there, though. We're getting there.
The respect. That's the grind.
Yeah.
My laptop is right here next to me, bro. We know how it
I
goes.
was just telling you before we went live. I am working as we speak.
I was doing that until. Yeah,
that's right. See, as you
where's Jason Schreier, man? I'm crunching.
You know, that's not even like that's actually a real thing, right? Like everybody ignores the fact that we all crunch.
Yeah, I know, man. Everyone I talk to is working long hours, and all of us are doing it. And then we're talking about crunch, about game developers, and it just sounds like part of you thinks, "Wait, hold on, like how bad is it?" Because I'm doing the same thing, but maybe I don't know. Maybe it's like a dinky crap office, or someone's there clogging up the toilets. I don't know. It's weird, but they're working from home now, so I don't know.
You know what it was? It's when we stopped calling it overtime. As soon as we started calling it crunch, that was like the nail in the coffin. What game is this?
Yeah,
this is Lone Echo 2, a VR game. This is the last great AAA VR game that has released from Ready at Dawn Studios, owned by Meta.
But what are you playing this on? The Quest?
I am playing this on my PC through the Quest.
The Quest.
This is a PC game.
Oh,
I know the Quest.
I've got my Quest here. Is linking.
You can literally rig
the PC hard.
Actually, this is wireless too. Believe it or not, this is actually.
Oh,
yeah! It's amazing looking, beautiful, and I recorded it off of like basically through my Wi-Fi 6 router and like put it on there. So it's not difficult. We can talk about it.
Yeah,
It's
I set
beautiful.
that up.
This is
I
I
need to
keep
do that.
saying this to people.
Because I haven't played
keep
Half-Life
saying this to
Alex
people.
still.
Like
Oh.
the real good VR games are locked on a PC, and most people don't want to buy a PC only headset. So you got to go on that PC market to get the real, like, see the way this game looks. It is amazing. You can get close. I think in part of this footage, I get so close you can see her pores.
That is
amazing.
wicked. What card do you got?
This is a 3080.
Oh, so I got 2070. So I don't know how good that will run.
No. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's all about resolution. The super sampling, like mine is super sampled up the wazoo. You can make it work. It's not difficult.
Okay.
You can make it work. And there are many games to try. We'll talk in the DMs. I'll hook you up. It's all good. But no, I think let's switch gears and talk a little bit at the right about just the games we've been playing, but let's talk about actually High on Life before we get into the actual story proper. So let me switch a bit into some High on Life footage that I've been playing as well. Folks have heard us expound on this show about how our feelings in general about it. Really quickly, if you haven't heard, I like it a lot. I think it grows on you as it goes. In the beginning, it's a little soft. But then as it starts going and you start getting more weapons and it opens up traversal, and depending on how many of them you have, I'm like, I just beat the second to last boss. I'm at the very last bit of the game, and I'm at the last part where they go, well, if you got anything else to do, you better do it now. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going back in there to go explore. That's literally where I am right now. So I'm really enjoying the game, and I think we can just start off the top, how we feel about it. But I want to get into a broader discussion after that. But guys, so yes, hit me with it from the top. When this game started, is it your brand of humor, or how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, so when the reviews came out, the scores were quite low.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, really low.
Sure. Yeah.
So and what's funny is because a lot of people think I'm coming at Xbox, and I'm here literally telling everyone that the reviews are wrong for this game, because really it's such a good fun game. It's to the point where it's the most successful Game Pass launch game from a third IP. That's insane. I didn't think people understand the ramifications of that.
Beating Destiny 2, beating
what does that mean? An indie game did that. That's no small feat. And Xbox Game Pass allowed that to happen despite the poor reviews. So there's so many narratives that get broken with this, because ultimately, think about it. How many times we talk about sustainability and bullshit, all the threats of indies being drowned over by Game Pass, and here it is. Not only gamers going for an indie game, but ignoring reviews about it, because the game's allure was enough for people to try it out, at least for the humor. And I think reviewers underestimated the value of humor in a game, or just didn't vibe with the kind of humor.
And you know what? We here with the Sauce Master, so we're gonna get a little saucy with it. Like I will take a more cynical view on that, sir, because
cynical than that.
Well, look, this. Do you know what's perplexing to me? And let's get into it, right? What's perplexing to me about this game is this, okay? I am an old, right? By the time y'all hear and or listen to this, I will be 42 years old. These grays are real, right? Happy birthday to me, right?
Wait, today?
Oh no, the 25th. By the time the people hear it. Yeah. So I'm
his birthday.
Oh well, happy birthday to Mama Everborn. Yes, indeed. So maybe Justin Roiland's humor may not be my bag, right? But clearly he has supplanted what came The Simpsons, then came South Park, then came Justin Roiland in his comedy, right? That is the trajectory of it, right? The Simpsons were it for the 80s and 90s, and then the South Park came and supplanted The Simpsons, right?
And then Family Guy.
And then Family Guy, exactly. So he fits well within that frame, and his comedy and his shows has basically like garnered appreciation from the new school way more than the old school, right? So
that's the thing.
Exactly, right? So it is in the predisposition of the youngins to love this game, right?
Absolutely.
So it surprises me why reviewers really gave it short shrift, like really.
No, but maybe that's the what's the cynical angle there, Santi?
So,
Obviously,
but
they're
here's
just
the thing.
older.
Well, here's my cynical angle.
But
And
are
maybe
they older? Right? Because
no. What's the medium age of an IGN reviewer?
Like the same age as us.
No.
Come on, the big guys still do the reviews, man. Who reviewed it for IGN? Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think there's
either.
Forget about who reviewed it. Why are the review numbers so low? How
Exactly.
could the game be played by this many people?
Let me give you the numbers right now as we speak right now. It's at a 65 Metacritic, right? It's and 65 Metacritic on Series X, and it's reviewed by 30 reviewers, right? On PC, it's reviewed by 23 reviewers at a 68 Metacritic, and on Series X, 419 like user reviews, and it's at an 8.3.
23. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, I think you said 32 of High on Life.
High on Life is 23. We're talking critical
30
reviews,
on 30 on
30 on Series
Xbox.
X.
Yeah.
So
that's quite a lot, because when I checked it was
point.
17, and now it's 30, and it's still at 65.
Yeah, but I feel like we had to shame people into reviewing it.
There you go. Right. Whereas let's check the review numbers of God of War. Just not even the levels, but how many people reviewed it. Right, and it's a big game. This is definitely not a comparison.
I don't know if you can compare.
It's not a comparison between. Definitely not. That's a low bar.
I think if you read the reviews from the journalists,
I
read
a few.
They really attacked the humor of it.
Exactly.
They didn't. And that's the thing.
It's almost like they did not know their audience, even though most video game like site readers are within that target audience. I
don't get it. Like, they got bad taste. What is it?
Here's the
Go ahead,
a more comparable comparison. Sifu, PS5 alone, 78 reviews.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so I can go and look for Stray, but that got nominated for Game of the Year. So maybe.
Well, Sifu also got some awards.
No, but my point is, it's a high-profile AA game. You can't compare it to God of War.
Yeah, of course. I was saying that's a bad comparison. I freely admit that. Absolutely.
Right, absolutely. And the like Halo and Forza are going to get those high numbers because those are
of course, because those are also the big guys.
But this makes me wonder, right? And again, can you just? And I don't mean to. I mean, I have to, right? It's my thing. Look at Sonic. And look how many reviews.
Oh, here we go.
Hold on a minute. Look at Sonic Frontiers and look how many reviews it got, and how many of those views were on PlayStation versus Switch, which is probably the primary platform, versus Xbox.
So most of them are reviewed on PlayStation?
Yeah, but it's like staggering, right? Like
staggeringly well.
If they're like 60 reviews, 54 of them are on PlayStation.
No way, really?
It's actually pretty funny too. The Metacritic numbers, as he said, Sonic Frontiers. I just looked it up, and right now, here's the funny thing: Sonic Frontiers on PS5 71, on PC 75, on PS4 75 as well, on Xbox 61.
No. But is that the number of the reviews or the score?
No. These are the scores. Scores.
What's the number of the reviews?
Yeah, number of
Which
reviews.
one do you want to know? Which one do you want to know?
PlayStation versus everybody else.
PS5. PS5 got 87 critical reviews of Sonic Frontiers. And let me see who else. Sonic Frontiers.
What about Xbox?
And
Switch and Xbox, yeah.
And Switch. Oh, hold on. No. I'm sorry. My bad. Let me do this again. Hold on one second. Because it's asking one weird thing.
You're killing it.
Of course. Yeah. Hey, man. You're the one who asked me to search for it in real time. So I'm going to search for you in real time. And there are
you searching for real time? The number of players for what? Xbox?
There are no Switch numbers.
18 reviews.
Okay. Switch has 18 and Series X has 12.
Right? So 80.
So they review. It's all reviewed on the primary platform.
81, did you say, on PlayStation?
87 on PlayStation.
87
on PlayStation. How many on Xbox?
12.
Right.
What?
But
and
but,
the discrepancy
but
between
that's
them
the
is
thing.
pretty drastic.
That tracks with how you could say, well, listen, because this is what people
tracks with
tell
what
me.
though?
You could say, well, Sega
Are you
only
saying Sonic
sent out-
Frontiers stuff is the same? Is that your
No.
your angle?
My angle is you may say, well, that's the reviews that Sega sent out. But from what I know from reviews, they ask you what platform you want to play on, right? But
Okay.
it was
Either
reviewed on
or,
PlayStation, right?
sometimes both.
The other platforms barely reviewed. But what I'm saying tracks is the fact that there are only 12 Xbox reviews for Sonic Frontiers versus 87 on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, but it's Sonic though. Why would reviewers
That's
not?
because Sonic is available everywhere. What if it's available only on that platform? Why does
but
that
this is what
then
I'm
change the
saying.
numbers?
So what I'm saying is the 17 number that Gaz and I saw last week tracks with the 12 number that's on Xbox. What I'm getting at is reviewers by and large either don't
like
have
Xbox
or don't want to play on it.
But what Sonic Frontiers is a multi-plat game. It has no association with Xbox.
Right. That's exactly that's the part of it that makes me a little bit wary of your theories, because if it's available everywhere, if it's available everywhere, then more often than not, more people will review it on PlayStation just by virtue of PlayStation's more popular.
Yeah, but now we have a game that is not available everywhere, and none of them wanted to review it.
But it's on PC. On PC, on Steam, it is the number one selling thing.
Reviewed it there either.
Exactly. So how does that explain that? On PC, it has no bearing.
All I am saying is a non-established IP on Xbox is not going to get the eyeballs of reviewers writ large.
Okay. I agree with you on that one.
High on Life is a prime example of that, and you can see the makeup of other games that are multi-plat. It's far and away, and it doesn't really even match the. I'm not saying it has to, but it doesn't match the market share either, right?
Yeah.
If we look at
what I don't understand, Everborn, is okay. We established PlayStation reviews play PlayStation, but why would that affect Sonic's score? Because I think
I'm not talking about the score. I'm only talking about the number of people who
review it.
I see.
With the number of people, the lack of people that reviewed High on Life. I'm saying most of these people who are in positions to review things,
they would rather review it on PlayStation 5 or nothing.
So that's irrespective of the score. I can't speak to the score.
Okay.
And then the humor is on another, and their critique on the humor is at odds with everyone else who found the game hilarious. Exactly how you would expect it to be hilarious. Rick and Morty, the game, and
we all know Rick and Morty has established itself as a big brand. Justin Roiland's name on it would then bring kids to it. So it surprises the heck out of me.
Man. It's I would say the median age is 20s to 40s,
30s and 40s. Yeah, absolutely.
Even say 35. Yeah, so like that says a lot about how out of touch some reviewers are. To me,
so just really let me ask the question then. And let me get into it with you guys about it, because I think this is indicative of a bit of like some stuff that's going on where more often than not, like reviews and reviewers, some will peddle the notion that reviewers come with an agenda. Others will say they're out of touch. Like, what do these situations ultimately mean for an industry like that has that symbiotic relationship with reviews and reviews and the consumer? Are we heading towards a day where reviews just aren't read anymore and it's just like gone, or is this just kind of like
question.
A rare? You know what I mean?
It just shifts. Reviews. Yeah. Look, reviews. What are reviews? Ultimately, you've elected to allow an outlet and their subjective assessment of what constitutes a good game affect you. Like, well, then why would you do that if you don't agree with their principles? If you don't agree with their method of critical analysis or lack thereof, or consistency in various genres, and you see that quite a lot. The point is just generally the metric will shift like it is. You just found out last week how many multiple publications had to shut down. So and now you're seeing all these guys pushing YouTube. Destin Nagari pushing YouTube. His channel's like almost exclusively talking about the FTC now.
Absolutely.
And that goes to show the traffic's coming from these big news. People are trying to wean off making their own thing. Like Jez has always been hybrid, but he's now heavy into the podcasting scene. So all that's happening is the metric is shifting, and YouTubers are their influences is shifted more to our size of kind of YouTuber, I think.
Well, you know what worries me though? Like, well, not even worries me, because none of this stuff is really troubling or anything. It's just a cyclical thing. But what's interesting about all of that is these are still the same outlets, the ones that have this control that make these decisions, whether you like it or not. They will also then, influence, say, the Game Awards, because they'll be the ones that vote on these games, right? So it kind of becomes a snake eating its own tail of we don't know and we don't care kind of a thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
This is what we've always said when we were talking about the Game Awards, and I'm talking about, okay, can we quantify what these established parameters are so that we can have some understanding into what your base rationale is, because you're aggregating your scores together. But one publication might just be like, yeah, I'll just go with the flow, God of War, because I like it. And, if there's nothing wrong with setting a fixed categories of reviews. Talk about visual fidelity or audio or staying power. Because ultimately, what's in the conversation of a Game of the Year award, what constitutes Game of the Year? Should there even be a category of that? Because that's such a broad, simplified... there's not trillions, but hundreds of great games released every year. So many indies get really beautiful experiences that Vampire Survivors was just discovered as a fluke. People don't realize
Speak on
that.
It, sir. The GOAT, man. The GOAT game.
Exactly.
I'm so addicted to that game.
And how did that get discovered? It got discovered late by some streamer. That's how it became big.
So
that's so crazy.
But I mean, there's a lot of things that happens with, like what's that imposter game?
Among Us.
Among Us and Fall Guys. Those are things that were released. Right.
Social phenomenon. Yeah.
So, but I think that's the quandary or the paradox with game reviews versus film reviews. Right. Obviously, all these things are art or whatever it is, but because a game is interactive, your experience with it may be very different than my experience of it. And so listening to someone's individual experience and their rating is really only their individual experience and rating of it. And so I think it becomes inherently hard. And so when we're rating a game overall, I don't know if a score really does that. For me, I think what may be more helpful is one, I believe we need to get rid of scores altogether so people can actually read what people are saying about these things.
Sir, I concur.
Because the shorthand of a score does a disservice to everyone involved along the chain of development.
That's why I try to avoid Metacritic altogether and do the YouTube just what you thought of it kind of thing. But yes, I agree with you, sir. Keep going.
We've seen a lot of sites like the Verge and these other places on the tech side move away from scores and more into categories in the review. So you can say graphics is a category, right? You can say combat is a category. You can say sound is a category. And if you want to score those, you can, but giving the game itself a different score, an overall score, I think becomes very difficult. And it really is not helpful because, these scores on High on Life. Right.
Yeah, this is weaponized. And people's
don't-
mentality is to look at the score, and if it's really low or really high, then go and read it. That's what people do. They only read reviews. They'll glance through Metacritic, read the summary a little bit, but basically the thought process is, especially for exclusives, let me zone in on the lowest reviewer and the highest reviewer. See what they're saying. If it's the highest reviewer and it's that reviewer from a PlayStation magazine and it's a PlayStation exclusive, automatically the conversation is like, that's bias. People look out for that. On the other side of it, if it's too negative over there, people will attack the person who's going a bit low. Oh, you have an agenda. And we have seen some instances of publications on Metacritic that have reviewed horrendously, and then even their harsh score doesn't even justify their horrendous reviews quality. So Metacritic is fundamentally flawed because publication's mindset is flawed. But I always use it. I always use the Metacritic number all the time. And people are like, why do you do that? You say Metacritic is rubbish. And I say, yes, think about it. I'm trying to drill into people's minds that keep mentioning it. We'll keep bringing up constantly these reviewers' missteps or misunderstandings of a game, and then you're still divided. I'm telling you, think about it. Look at how the divide is. It's shifted away from reviewers to everyone else, and social media has made it by process of filtration. We used to really attach weight to reviews before, really to the substance of it. We respected the journalists a lot, and we over time, it's just for whatever reason, there's a divide between a lot of publications, and they've been really.
It seems like are we about to get to the olden days? Well, in our day, journalism was an honorable pursuit.
Well. So here's the thing about it. So okay, there's two things there, right? And I understand what you're saying, Gaz, but I think that can become a slippery slope where you get to these echo chambers, because you right now in the community are experiencing a similar thing. You expressed an opinion, and now everybody hates you, right? And then so if we're saying just because we don't like what this reviewer or that Metacritic score is, that we're only gonna do this internal bubble of the people that already tell us what we want to know, like, are we really gonna learn about
We're doing that already. We're already doing that.
Right, but is it good? So that brings me to my main point here.
Maybe.
Yes.
Because it's allowing your bubbles are your own then. You're creating your own little mini bubbles.
I do hear him on that. That echo chamber is a dangerous place. That echo chamber
it becomes the kind of it becomes as insidious as the whole fake news phenomenon, where anything I don't like, I can just call fake or biased or whatever.
You need to stop smelling your own farts and go smell them fresh.
Right. But
yeah, ultimately, I mean, people do that. It's very easy to tell the bullshit from when someone is doing this correction to get clout. And the clout chasing, we've seen so many multiple, like, crap gamer, for instance, like you did. Phil Spencer publicly scorns him, so he decides to jump ship and have a retaliatory view on gaming. I'm like, right, what does that mean? That means because he personally attacked you, you just start changing a whole metric of what constitutes a good platform or game. So
I mean, but to be fair, that was a sick burn.
But he didn't attack him.
It was a stick burn. It was a stick burn. Phil Spencer slapped him so hard, all those cavities came out, and he literally, Phil Spencer changed his life in a tweet. That was the biggest backhand I've ever seen online, bro. The guy changed his life over Phil Spencer's tweet. Man. Crazy.
But to the point of reviewers, though, so one thing that I do with any film review, I actually don't read film reviews until after I've watched the movie.
Yep, me too.
Right?
Me too. Because it has to be a companion afterwards. Then I can bring my opinion to it as well. Yes.
Right, because I have this thing with film reviews. I don't want someone else's idea pulling an inception on me while I watch the film, and I'm looking for what they said versus forming my own opinion on it. And I wonder if that made, I mean, I know like we're spending money on these things, so we kind of need to know at least something, especially when you got these
in the Game Pass
games.
world, that may change a little bit, but yes, continue.
That's another thing. So I wonder if we kind of need to approach the whole review scene as a conversation as opposed to
there you
an
go.
answer,
It's a great point.
right?
It's a great
There
point.
you go.
That's what it should be. That's a great point. Basically, a hive mind is what you've just suggested. No, but it's true. It's true.
Oh, but
I know
it should
sounds
be a
insidious.
post. It should be a post gaming activity, possibly. You know, hey, this is what I thought. What did you think? Rather than a should you buy it or should you not buy it? Kind
That's
of.
what I think. Anyone with a modicum of intelligence will, over the period of time as they mature, despite the fact that we all got a little bit hoodwinked with the establishment of this fresh gaming scene in journalistic realm, but the ultimately it's on the user to actually use their critical analysis to discern over a period of time. Like, okay, well, one thing, reviews are a subjective opinion of one person's perception of art, gameplay, the notion of fun. So over a period of time, you should have, if you're true to yourself, as opposed to being courted towards a certain side based on platform. Yeah, if you have the intelligence or to look at it in earnest and say, well, I do actually want to know what is the best game or how a game excels and why does it excel? What's, the impact? I keep saying impact as a metric for this Game of the Year award thing when assessing what that constitutes. Impact is so important to me. Yeah. But the idea is like people need to use their brains, man, and just fuck the noise and just go into what actually constitutes. What do you enjoy? How does it feel? People don't understand. Like a lot of the fun that we derive, although tastes develop, the fun that we derive, a lot of it does harken back to nostalgia because gaming is so pure in its enjoyment that you start to enjoy it like so at such a young age. That's why the whole phenomenon is most people are now gamers, man. And there's so many of us. And you can cut the noise and actually want to understand, like, why do I enjoy this game? What makes it so great? And then assess it in the grand. If you're a reviewer or a content creator in the space, then you'll be making this analysis all the time, finding those strands of relatability or consensus in terms of the way of thinking, because gaming is so abstract in the notion of fun. So yeah, it's just people like this. It's always dynamic, but then for the sake of conversation as well, you need to try and arrive at a metric that's easy to grasp and for people to actually associate. And you'll find that everyone has an anchor to Metacritic, despite
true. Despite it's corrupted nature and the way it seems to.
But this is another problem where I have to ask, right? And I don't know if we're talking about the Game Awards, but these
are all byproducts.
Right,
go ahead.
As a medium, right? As a genre, I don't know what do you call gaming, right? As a whatever,
as a form of entertainment, yes,
right. But also as the gaming community and audience, as well as the awards, as well as the reviews, I still think we have some growing up to do. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
I think the Game Awards are chasing.
That's
the film industry, right? Yeah. And there's so much wanting to be like the Oscars and wanting to be the movies that they're not embracing the actual
isn't that the reason why? That's the reason why a game like Vampire Survivors will have no chance at the Keighleys, right? Because
but it is
not more than a game. It is a great game, but it's not more than a game, and because of that, it'll have no place in those awards.
Well, but let me ask you a question.
Is it not more than a game?
It's phenomenon because it's a phenomenal game.
It's digital craft.
It's a cultural phenomenon.
it's a cult. It has it's a cultural touchstone, and I agree with you on the Gaz. Games that have impact. That is a game that definitely has impact, and a lot of people will remember it fondly. But by the metric of any of the Keighley's various categories, it will never hit any metric at all.
So
right?
what are the categories? So this is the thing. They don't have one. They don't think like
but those
that.
categories every time seem to be very cinematic and hey, how much of a movie can you be?
Everborn is absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Exactly.
Again, they're filmic. Like the game is the numbers. It's quite amazing actually.
Look at Pacino at the Game Awards.
Huh? Sorry?
Look at Pacino at the Game Awards. Like, what was that man doing there?
That
chasing it.
Asante is incredible visual, actual affirmation
it's a visual
of
representation of all of it.
Of the industry. That is it. That's the snapshot, microcosm of gaming journalism. Is Al Pacino standing there, withering away as this man delivers a speech for about 55 years? Like, what man's already old? You're gonna watch him die on stage? I was only worried about Al Pacino. The guy's obviously got
His
much
speech
older.
Was longer than The Irishman. The thing is this. I don't want to give the Game Awards all the smoke because even at the Oscars,
no.
In the same way, hear me out.
Yeah.
In the same way that Vampire Survivors would never win Game of the Year, would an Avengers movie ever win Best Picture? Right?
But
the thing is,
ironically,
let me finish that thought. So the idea there's long been this bias in at the Oscars towards like the sort of indie film
to the art house.
Right. Now let's be clear though. There are exceptions, right?
Sure, of course.
Lord of the Rings.
Avatar's winning everything.
One,
yes.
Right.
That's right.
So but again, by and large, the Oscars kind of gears towards those smaller indie films, art house kind of things.
That's right. Whereas the Game Awards is the polar opposite.
Right. It would be the Avengers is what they choose at the Game Awards.
Exactly. Absolutely.
If we're making that comparison, and I always found that dichotomy interesting. I think they both could use a little balance, but the other main thing here, when I say there's also growing up for us to do, why do we put so much weight on the reviews and the Game Awards? Is it because we want validation of things we already know? Because like if I agree that I actually agreed with Game of the Year this year. I thought Elden Ring was the Game of the Year. But let's say I thought Sonic Frontiers was the Game of the year. Right?
You gotta do it twice in a show. Come on, man.
I'm just saying. Let's say I did, right? What does someone else's opinion
matter
in that context of what I played and what I found?
Doesn't matter at all.
So why do we get so upset about these scores and who won? Is it because we want to win an argument online, or is it because
we're born out of frustration?
Well,
you know what? Born out of frustration on lack of consensus. Like you're like, hold on. Like if you truly believe this game should have been nominated for Game of the Year and everyone else got it really wrong, then you should want to know why. Why is it everyone's falling for that? Everyone's caring about that publication's number or that aggregate score that much. Why does everyone care that much? And then you want to combat
it's about
that.
Passionate gaming. That's what it is,
because
everyone. Like, why do we care? It's because, like, and I know that not everyone's there for that. Some people are there for the smoke and for the bragging rights and the console war, blah blah blah. But some of us, like, and that's why you'll notice I call it the Keighley's, right? Because you call it the Game Awards, and as Gaz has said, it's a phenomenon. It's something that gripped us as a pure part of our soul from childhood and has not let go. And some of us are getting very old. It's a very pure expression of creativity and art. Some of us love it with our whole heart. So when you start talking in lofty terms and calling it the Game Awards, you have big shoes to fill. And when we see you're not filling them correctly and you're using them to your own kind of benefit, making it a
marketing wise
commercial,
blah blah blah.
Right?
Yeah.
It offends. this thing that we hold dear and we think is pure, right? You can keep it E3 like. We love that too. Just remove the altruistic parts that you want to peddle because it's not working and it offends our sense of decency. That's where I'm coming from with it, right? I know some people use it for other things, but to me, be honest and earnest with your pursuit. If you want to be there and be, the next marketing thing, I'm there for that. That's what I want to be. I want to see the next world premiere. It's awesome. Let's do it. But then don't say we're here to celebrate games, and then as soon as you say that, go, oh, and these are our nominees. Don't even give them the respect of telling them each their name, and these are our winners. And it's just a long scrolling list just to get back to the next trailer.
The Oscars does that as well, though, right? There are awards that don't come on the screen.
Well, but the Oscars have lost their souls long ago. I do not hold them in my heart as I do
ever
gaming.
Since Will Smith slapped the shit out of Rock, they lost all respect.
No, but come on now. They've been on the decline for a long time. You're there to see those crazy
banned them for life. Come on, man.
Ridiculous. Right? It's ridiculous. Absolutely.
They banned them for life, bro.
You know what? Let us move. Let us switch gears.
Number of years.
I'm pretty sure
it's some number of years. I think it's some.
Well, he'd be dead then. It's not going to get nominated in 20 years.
He just had to do a slave movie so they would take him back into Hollywood.
But and supposedly nobody watched it. He's upset. But we're going to talk about it.
Wait. It came out? It came out?
It came out.
I don't recommend
Nobody watched it.
Nobody watched it. Oh,
listen,
shit.
You will be offended by the first 10 minutes of that movie.
Oh, man.
Right? Like, there are...
I'm not black, man. Not like, what is it? Like a race against black people?
No, okay, let me just say one thing about this. And I know this is not on the
we derailing.
But in the first 10 minutes of this movie, there are black men's heads on pikes and white people randomly shooting slaves in the head. And here's the thing.
He's really trying to win that.
Here's the thing. And I know it's supposed to be like a revenge movie, and then he goes and joins Lincoln's army or whatever. But the thing is, at that time, a slave wasn't cheap. You had to basically take out a mortgage to have to buy a slave.
Yeah,
no one would go and shoot someone in the head like that for no reason, right?
I don't know the intricacies of history. If that is correct, then yeah, I don't know. I don't know American history.
If that is in the film, it is because they wanted it to be there. They wanted to put that image out.
Of course, yeah.
Right, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. Not today.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was your On the Real Minute. Okay. Expect more from On the Real.
The whole reason Will Smith is because he never did those.
Because he never did any of those BS. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
How the mighty have fallen. Unfortunately.
We went the whole beef with Eminem, and we thought the bad guy won.
Oh yeah, Eminem. Yeah.
But now it's like, well, hold on a minute. When he took the piss out Will Smith, then maybe he was right.
Absolutely. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm gonna cut in here because we're gonna get back to gaming. But before,
apologies.
No, absolutely not. This is what we do here. This is gonna be absolutely fantastic. Before I do get back to gaming, I will say all the people who are watching this as it premieres, go ahead and hit that like button. Why not subscribe? We are so close to that 1,000 subscribers. I think we're like 83.
If you don't do it, I hate Xbox more.
bruh. Speaking of hating Xbox more, we're gonna get back to the gaming conversation while we're still regaling ourselves with some more of this high on life footage. But I want to get into, as Mr. Boomstick, and shout out to him, as he likes to call the M&M, the marketing and messaging of Xbox. Because yes, Mr. Sauce Master himself, you have gotten yourself into some saucy waters these days as we're recording this, because a lot of people have come after you, and Pony Masters have put their arms around you because of your harsh critique.
The ponies are literally like coming here, like just trying to, like just little lick off my nipples. It's like,
oh boy,
that's what they're doing. It's just it's so weird. It's like these guys are trying to caress me now. Like,
it always happens that way.
right?
It
And
always-
Xbox are mad. They're
And the
watching
moment
that.
you give smoke for other side, then all of a sudden they're gonna hit you again. But so
Oh,
let me give you a
man.
quick backdrop of why where we're coming with this conversation, guys. And I know you're gonna get into it because you have a lot that you're bringing to this conversation as well. Me and Everborn have been, as we do, I've been disagreeing and debating about how Microsoft specifically, and we can broaden our conversation to PlayStation in general and even PC, how they tend to not market and still somehow own the environment anyway, but that's neither here nor there. You know, how Microsoft has marketed their games or games associated with them, because we know they haven't had any real first party, in the year of 2020, right, 2022, but how they've associated themselves. How they've associated themselves with these games that have come out under their banner, right? And I concede, I think, and I still think that, hey, the way they're doing it is not the way that a hungry person that's ready to take the crown should do it, right? And you've been critical on that point as well, and I'll let you get to it, but here's the backdrop of it, right? And Mr. Everborn Sagas is on the other side of it, saying, look, they're marketing in a new way, and I'll let him expound on that. And as much as back and forth as we go, right, then you hear, hey, High on Life is the third greatest game. Oh, no, it's the biggest single player launch ever, right? So at that point, in Game Pass, right? So at that point, any earnest reading of the tea leaves or of the situation is, hey, what you know is you don't know what you don't know, right? Like,
I mean, maybe there is. We can talk about that later.
And even for you, I can have an argument that this is an outlier because others have tried this exact same tactic, and unfortunately it hasn't worked, and I have evidence of that. But I guess my question to you guys is, how do you feel about their marketing? And I know you've had some conversation about it. Give us the
marketing.
top level,
specifically marketing.
Their messaging, their marketing, how they stand behind their game. Like, look at High on Life, right?
They don't. They're terrible. They're terrible at their marketing. I think almost unanimously Xbox fans will agree their marketing is terrible. I don't see any resistance to that point. All I see is pretty much confirmation. I mean, it's obvious. Like,
and by the way, I will let you know. Past. You will get this. There will be disagreement by now, but continue.
You will.
Well, how? Wait, there's disagreement on this.
Oh yeah, on this panel. On this panel, you will have many disagreements.
Please, can you explain?
Well,
please?
I have a whole dissertation, but I want you to finish your point, and then I will expound.
Well, I'm surprised this was contested in the first instance, so that just completely steers the conversation.
No, please. And
I like to throw curveballs.
Of course you do.
Okay. Sorry, what was the original point then? I've completely lost track. What the hell are we talking about now?
What we're talking about here is, what do you think, right? With the backdrop of High on Life, with the backdrop of the greatest game, the greatest crack known to man, Vampire Survivors, with the backdrop of Pentiment and all these things, how do you think
Microsoft... You're stressing the words, the backdrop. There's almost reverb as you're saying the backdrop.
Well, because they exist, right?
Took over the world.
Well, no. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying what I'm saying is, in many circles, these games are very highly regarded, but of course, in the real high conversation, what are people still talking about? ABK and the drama therein, right? So with all that in the sauce, what do you think of how they're messaging their games that are associated with? And I keep that term loose because this is not their first party and all blah 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 blah. What do you think?
If Microsoft's arguments, it goes to show why they marketed only two things: Redfall and Starfield. And the funny thing is, they were so desperate.
They couldn't even do that at the Game Awards, but that's a.
They're so desperate. Imagine you've just revealed the game's CGI cutscene. E3 ends, and from that point, they were heavily, for about half a year, advertising Redfall on YouTube. I was like, how they started their advertising campaign? It's not cheap. their coverage of Redfall was very deep. Any algorithm broadly applied, anyone watching here would have most likely been subjected to those. So there's no way you would have missed it. So they marketed Redfall and the big games. So they even acknowledge that metric of big games. But at the same time, they're simultaneously peddling Game Pass that opens the barriers. Phil Spencer, I'm playing Vampire Survivors. But why are you not advertising? Like, why are you not advertising? Bro, they... like Rick and Morty, look at it. I'm not Rick and Morty, High on Life. Look at how that was not marketed versus the biggest launch on Game Pass. And now God of War had Rick and Morty in the game. Why did God of War had Rick and Morty? Why did Microsoft have the foresight to believe in the value of this game?
For a moment, about High on Life, right? And maybe I'm wrong here, right? But I've been trying to think of a non-cynical like reading of the situation, specifically about marketing and High on Life. And I was thinking, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong here, like, could it be that as much as this game is really beloved and people are enjoying it, at first glance, Microsoft says we'll let it sit on our platform because it's a genre that is unfulfilled, and we want to fulfill all categories in Game Pass, but we won't really tightly associate ourselves because it's kind of too adult. Like they go way past the limit, and this is Microsoft that censors a lot.
I don't think so. I think it's just they don't have an eye for good games. I just don't think they have an eye for good games.
I mean, you can argue the point, but they were the ones that secured this one, right? And they are the ones that secured.
This is the thing. They secured this. But there's a degree to that. They valued it enough to secure it, but marketing it. Why they're not marketing? They had the foresight. There's a good game, but you're not going to market it. Sit back and do nothing. Why? It's because they don't know. They're so inept.
What are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts?
It should be a dynamic, fluid marketing campaign throughout every season. But especially with Microsoft spending 70 billion, I'm sure it can spunk a couple on a key thing called marketing. It should be a consistent marketing campaign for Game Pass.
And when you say marketing, season, what do you mean? Do you mean the digital?
Specific games. The games, not a sizzle reel.
Where exactly? Do you mean like on billboards?
The Game Awards, at least. What did you see? You saw 3 Game Pass adverts. What did you see? Xbox conviction in the games in there. Pick one at least. Go for it. Like, your indies are powerful. Now, if you want to change the narrative of big AAA games, movie-like games that everyone cares for, then holistically, people need to agree High on Life should be. Now everyone says it's such a good game. If I asked you after E3 when they showed it off, hey guys, what if I told you Microsoft is allowed to market one game and I want to say I want to put High on Life in there? And you'd be like, most people would be like, really? High on Life? Like, you could pick another big, like Plague's Tale would have won.
Yeah, probably Plague Tale would have won that. Yes.
I don't know because didn't we come out like very excited looking?
Oh yeah, we for sure we came.
We saw
that's what I'm saying. After the fact.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying when it was announced, we looked at it like that. We were.
No. It wasn't.
I'm saying what we said. Like I don't know what the rest of the community said. I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Well, we said it was amazing because they were this is Rick and Morty, literally humor, like the DNA of the source, man. So like we knew it was big as soon as it was revealed. We said it was good, but general community, man, I didn't think it was that. They said it looks nice. It looks fun.
Okay. So
if I asked you after the game's showing, would you have picked this community, the Xbox community? Would they have picked that or Plague's Tale? They would have picked Plague's Tale, I think.
So let me throw a little bit more context in this sauce here. To Everborn's point, right, about people not really liking to review Xbox games. Immortality. Have you heard of this game? Guys, have you heard of Immortality?
Me? Sorry, I thought I was asking Everborn. I have.
Have you played?
I'm trying to remember it.
This is like a real found footage kind of game where you're just scrubbing through video footage. You may not have played it, but you may have seen it because it was marketed somewhat.
I don't see immortality.
Needless to say, this game is
Sorry, I'm trying to
currently
multitask and
an
look at the gameplay.
88 on Metacritic, reviewed by 14 people.
But it's not a traditional kind of.
Yeah. Oh no. But it falls in line with the fare on Game Pass. Weird, out of the box, as dusk falls, kind of out of the box thinking kind of games that really get critically reviewed, either by the critics who do review it, which is like 14 of them in this instance, or by the community saying, come on now, the game is really good. Well, it seems like there's always a disconnect there.
Can I just add, like, because I know we talk about a lot of problems, I like to also add solutions here.
Oh yeah, please, of course.
I think the content creator community should probably do more reviews, right?
If you have time, yeah.
I mean, but we spend so much time like complaining
even
about
doing the
basics.
No.
We spend.
I
saw the year-end wrap-ups. We're playing these games, right?
Oh yeah.
So if we're playing them and we have channels that we support every week to talk about how unfair these things are, we could also be reviewing these things too.
So are you saying that the Everborn Saga is not going to be reviewing for GCP 2023? We're going to get some reviews from you, man? Oh, this is great news.
I completely agree with you, Everborn. We need to. That's why.
That's the only thing that's going to fix it. They're not going to do it, right?
Exactly. That's why that's what I'm saying. That's why I've cut away multiplayer, and I love multiplayer.
Kills your time. Yeah.
Exactly. So I can't do that. So for me, you have to understand my core enjoyment is on PvP. So what that means is I have to shift. But I still love single player games. Now that I'm coming back into it, I'm just jumping into so many now. The addictive vibe in multiplayer is very different kind of dopamine release to playing a single player game. A single game is a game that leaves an impact, hence why you get so many single player games getting nominated, and Overwatch being the outlier. People think Uncharted 4 should have been the winner. That was completely wrong assessment in my opinion. I think Overwatch should have won. Ultimately, I'm striving to do that, Everborn. Exactly what you've said. Because I was going to work on. I really wanted to do a review of Callisto Protocol, and then just freaking everything. You're doing your go live work is crazy. Yeah. Like you're trying to rush, and
we're not getting paid for this.
Yeah, exactly. You're not, bro. I don't make money. We lose money every month. We don't make money every month because we have a lot of outgoings. People don't. They're like, oh, he's doing it for the money. Yeah, to break even, we're still pumping money. One day of my source video that's coming out, the expenditure on that for some of the props and stuff.
What about time? Time is money.
And people don't understand how long I spend on Premiere Pro. And I'm trying to change it. I love it though. And then you're addicted to editing. Now you're like, oh crap! Like I love spending time on the timeline, but I also want to play. But then you need to record to put stuff on the timeline. I'm going to review. Time. Boom. Before you know it, reviews have such a short half-life of interest. About the people move on very quickly to the next big thing. So by the time you've covered High on Life, the algorithm will not even push it in by the time you've done a review. Yeah. And for me, people don't understand even any of the normal videos where I'm just sitting there recording people. That takes time. It's about 6, 8, 10 hours for the basic one, because even the small touches that I'm trying to learn and put in there to refine it, that takes time. Like this is my next video, which is not a source video, that has like some weird editing touches in there as well. So I'm trying to keep some of that flair, because that flair is what I really like. I feel like the content creator community needs to push that. I think there's a big divide between good and bad, and I'm just a learner.
You do make a good point about having the creator community taking more of a front like a front role, a lead role in that, and setting a standard that maybe, hey, if you don't want to be part of that propaganda, this is what you should be doing, right? That is a lofty goal.
The thing with that though, right? Because obviously there's power in numbers. If as many like influencers that are out there, if we, and I'm not saying we have the time for it. I don't have the time for it, right? It's super hard. It's gonna like make an issue about this, and all of our collective communities start coming to us for these things, then the major outlets will have to change, and they'll account for that, either that or you'll start getting accredited from Metacritic.
And you know what? That's where I wanted to go, Everborn. That's where I wanted to go.
But I didn't get to talk about the marketing thing, because that
we'll go into marketing now. We're gonna go into marketing now. But the reason why I wanted to talk about reviews in gaming is I want to see a world post reviews and what that looks like. And I think what you're describing here might be
scores.
Yes, exactly. Where Metacritic has so much teeth. You know, I want that world to end, and I think your assessment here is spot on. That we need to get more on the board and possibly start reviewing things more, and maybe we as a
it's hard to rally a movement. It's not even hard to rally consensus.
And this is coming from a guy who's an Xbox guy who keeps getting heat from Xbox.
For me. I think that's the thing, but that's if you want to strive towards it. See, my mantra is just be real and don't give a shit about what people think, man. Like, because ultimately, people, if they get you, they get you. If they don't get you, they don't get you. So, absolutely. This thing was great for me. Like all the Xbox community, I've just loved it because for me, it was a filtration system of all the bullshit. I don't want the freaking basic fucking. These guys can't even.
You can get them off your timeline. Then is that
I didn't take much for them to switch, bruv. Do you not think that this guy has already argued against PlayStation for 2 years with strict parameters and assessed them quite harshly? And when Xbox fucks up, I should just be quiet. Why the fuck would I do that? If you're any kind of objective thinking human being,
episode, just so you know, very expletive filled episode, but it's fine. It'll get the expletive that it needs. Keep speaking on.
Oh, sorry, is this family show?
Oh no, please, no. We put some of them in there. This will be one of those. Don't worry. Don't worry. Keep going.
I'm sorry.
It's a specialty show. We're recording this. We're recording this at night. Nobody should expect anything. Keep going.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Please.
No. So to the whole controversy thing, I always tell this to people, which is if your beliefs do not hold up to scrutiny or opposing views, then you actually don't believe them. If you need to be coddled, right?
Yeah.
If you are this big time Xbox guy, you can't sleep at night because Gaz has a different opinion than you about it. Do you actually believe that Xbox is doing the right thing? Right. Because if I know that I'm right about something, I know I believe something, nothing anyone is going to say unless it actually makes sense is going to get to me. Right. It's not going to bother me. And I just think it shows weakness if you can't, at least weakness in your beliefs. I don't want to call individuals weak, but it shows weakness in your beliefs if you can't process a viewpoint that's different from yours. That being said, so about the specific thing, and I watched the video, it was great, and I'm going to talk about marketing in a second.
We'll get to that one.
Another problem is I don't think a lot of people are bright enough to have constructive criticism, right? Because I can look at your video, Gaz, and say, okay, I agreed with this, that, and that, but I have a different view on that and that, and here's why. But because I can't formulate my words, I have to say, no, Gaz is a pony now, right?
They hear all the flamboyant language and they lose their minds. They don't understand. That's part of the sauce, man. You gotta,
And so today, someone twist what I said, cut it down to a second.
I think I saw a video.
Reframed this pizza guy, complete nonsense. That means he's just misleading everyone. He said Xbox, 2023, but it has Starfield, it has this. not completely missing out the point that we talked about absentia this year of 2022. Relied on those big games, which are
some
now
people just don't
delayed
get it.
games.
I don't think.
And
I think they don't get it.
PlayStation. You're talking about a platform that has failed for an entire gen, and you're simping that hard for it. Like, have some understanding of the legacy here, and then apply that energy. I don't understand. We have always seen multiple times the disconnect between the Xbox marketing team, despite Phil Spencer's massive savior of the brand, because that's what he did. Ultimately, they had to be slapped around last year in every area: indie policy, game pricing, mandatory, connected, bundled in, and then followed up by whatever it was. Then you can use it without Connect. There was DRM, all of that. There was such a massive disconnect. That doesn't mean all of a sudden Phil Spencer comes in, savior team, everything's gonna be fixed. Phil Spencer made the big important call, but it's always harder when you get down to the detail, and this is where the details are where they're failing, and the details are quite broad. Ultimately, the base category everyone assesses, and we can go into discussions of why this is faulty or not, but everyone assesses the success of a platform based on their ability to deliver first-party exclusives.
You have to deliver the deliverables. So now, let me try
all right.
to have.
Come on, yes, let's do this.
Okay, so. I'm going to talk about marketing in a second, but I know this was a big thing, and I want to.
And this dovetails into marketing. This dovetails into messaging and marketing. That's where we are right now. So please,
I want to try to speak from the perspective of a person who was not upset about anything you said, and also wasn't angry about it, but disagreed on certain points. Because I think there's room to have those conversations. So
absolutely, it's not my argument was bulletproof. It's a 7-minute video that doesn't permit for masses of debate because of the format and the algorithm, Twitter, and people won't listen.
Twitter is also restricted. Are even worse for that, right? So one thing I say when I watched it, I thought and I know you pointed this out, right? But my thing is, on the one hand, when we say, and a lot of us have said this, including myself, Jim Ryan and Sony, they don't owe Xbox anything, and the things that they are saying and doing are looking out for their own interests, as they have a fiduciary responsibility to do. Right? Why would you hand the knife to someone that is basically getting ready to stab you with it, right? You don't step out of the way, right? So we understand that. We understand that even though the things Jim Ryan are saying are patently ridiculous, he's saying it in order to achieve a goal.
Self-preservation,
right. Now, again, there's an argument that they're trying to win, and the regulators are the arbiters. So my thing is, or my perspective on that is, if we can understand that Sony is saying what they have to say, even if it's ridiculous, because it doesn't matter if it's ridiculous. It matters if regulators will listen, right?
It matters, but not to the regulator conversation. The regulatory conversation, fine.
But I'm just saying we understand that the regulators are the impetus for saying those ridiculous things, right? I think we can agree there,
absolutely.
Right? So if we know that for Jim Ryan, why don't we know that for Brad Smith? I'm going to come to Phil Spencer and the lack of delivering the deliverables in a second.
What did Brad Smith say?
So when he said we're the small entrant, of course that's bull crap. But he's saying what he needs to say, and I think if we can give Jim Ryan,
it's so stupid. Like Jim Ryan, fine. You're the applicant. You're not the defendant. Defendant has no skin on their nose but shame. You're the applicant. You have to be smarter when you're litigating against an enemy. You don't understand.
You're saying that's a faulty argument, that's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying, well, it's faulty the way he's framing it. It's so small entrance, but we understand that he doesn't understand. It's just a PR gaffe. Why did you have him there? He doesn't. Brad Smith doesn't get there is a core exec structure at Xbox comparatively that does enjoy gaming, by the way.
yeah.
That's
Sure.
don't downplay the importance of that,
Yeah.
because that's really important. It's why we mock Jim Ryan can't hold
But
a controller.
you do
compared to Phil
realize
Spencer.
that Brad Smith, that audience that he was talking to was not a gaming audience at all, and he's not a gamer, obviously, and
but
neither was the
FTC not
audience he was talking to.
stupid. You have to be raw. If you're litigating harder, doesn't mean you know the FTC's now ready and thirsty. They announced their mandate before ABK. It was obvious they were ready. They had to make a case. You can't have a massive meteor of an $80 billion deal escape their glance, and you'll see that in the next video. The start, but the point is, if you're still tactical, you're being too soft. If the FTC is this emboldened and it's an inevitability that they're going to be litigating against, then you at least make sure that your primary resistor, the guy Sony, blabbing on, talking nonsense, your primary resistor and their legacy, knowing the futility of playing nice, because that's what they should have known. No, it was stared at the face. They announced their mandate. Of course it was going to happen. But then what you would need to do is make sure, at the very least, we are talking about a decade-long deal with Sony, and there are no conditions, nothing time limited for them to accept that.
Let me push back on one point, and everyone, I'll let you speak. On one point, I want to push back on you. Okay, I hear what you're saying, and I hear why why you feel that they're not approaching it the right way, right? But recently, you heard the CMA allowed for comment, right? Allowed for the community to comment. And what did they do? They the community in your neck of the woods to comment, and they weeded out all the dick pics and all the ridiculous ponies and all of that.
So basically, they weeded out all of Gaz's responses.
I did not write the CMA. What the?
That sauce video was great, by the way.
Yes,
Thank
it
you,
was.
Man. I appreciate
and they weeded it all out, right?
Some people understood it. But not everyone knows Freaky Zeke. I think that's where I lost all the people.
So once they weeded out all the ridiculousness, right? They came out with, like, by and large, what was it? 75% of the respondents approve of the deal. There is a notion that all of the blah 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 talk, the weak talk, the Phil Spencer saying that in order for PlayStation to be big, we have to be small. All that chum that they're throwing in the water, the website that they released, that all that was more propaganda for the community, so that when these questions are asked, the community respond the right way. I mean, it seems to be.
I don't know that I agree on that.
Not at all.
Because it seems to be that they're trying to change the narrative. They're trying to take it away from Sony.
You place too much importance in the community's voice and the importance of them in the passing of this deal. We're not the arbiters. We are not the arbiters in deciding who wins it.
But this is part of the process, is it not? Where they ask for feedback and they
receive
it.
Microsoft failed, by the way. People need to acknowledge this. In terms of legal fighting here, they had a tactic. Legal team would have instructed them. All right, let's go with obviously negotiation for a multitude of reasons. Then concessions. Concessions don't mean that you blurt them out so hard, so fast that the FTC is just pointing out. See, not instead of thinking of it as, well, let's look at the substance, like the 3 years or post completion of a contract against a market leader that has routinely practiced in this quite wholesale money hatting business anyway. Like, if they would bore down to that detail, then they would have wiped it off, but they're not looking like that. They're not looking at that. They know that Lena Khan's going to make a statement.
So you wanted them to be more aggressive in their fight against
Sony. The battle was always against Sony. You don't understand. Like, if
you wanted them you basically wanted them to dismantle Sony's argument rather than give them concessions, meaning 10 years, 5 years. That's didn't want that.
If you're going to offer concessions, then at the very least, and they're still not doing it because they've blurted out, big mistake. Time limited. because
Okay.
the strength of our argument is this: we don't even need to give them 3 years because here we go. The history is pretty strong against a market leader. You're talking about enhancing competition, so of course it would enhance competition. Sony finally gets an impetus to get off its ass and actually build a first-person shooter instead of buying cheap money-having deals. But sorry,
here's the thing, Gaz. You are speaking as someone who has spent many years studying the gaming industry, and Sony and Microsoft are speaking to, and as it relates to the video game industry, idiots. I'm not saying they're actual idiots. I'm saying people who don't understand the industry.
He's leading them by the hand.
Exactly. But what's irrelevant? It's irrelevant.
You're saying they've offered too much too soon, effectively, and that has allowed the conversation to push them even further. So if they because they started with the 3-year offer, obviously no one's going to accept what you first offer. So they push the Overton window, and now we're in a conversation of even entertaining the idea of 10-year offers and PlayStation Plus for someone who's never going to even take those things, and they're laughing in your face. That's really what your argument is, if I understand it correctly.
Kind of. The main thing I don't want people to lose fact of in this whole FTC thing is they didn't come. FTC didn't sit down. Brad Smith said it. They didn't even come have a conversation with them to offer the details.
They were already
mind was made. It was already made. But he said it. Literally, that's very significant that Brad Smith said that. That they were didn't even come to have the conversation. What does that mean? That means your FTC process, an emboldened FTC, is a complete sham. It's just run by people who don't care about the notion of competitive fairness. If you have an $80 billion deal on the line, why don't you come in on the conversation? It's insane. Like, the whole FTC thing is stupid. You've said they're a bunch of idiots. Microsoft already knows this. So why are you? But they didn't have the conviction in there. But they failed.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why, or at least what I think. Right. So I think the FTC is where they are because of who's running it. That's the idea
of course.
Sorry, but one very quick second. Is it okay? Are you able to? Sorry, I'm really sorry. Sometimes can you get some water?
Oh no, please go ahead, brother.
Quickly calm down. I can hear you still. So Everborn, I'll be able to hear you. So you can make your point. I'll be listening.
Yes, go ahead. No worries.
So personnel as policy. Right. So what that means is the Democrats via Joe Biden knew what they were getting when they chose a law professor, a progressive law professor at that they would try to push the boundaries of the law. They understood that, right? So it may be that the FTC was always a lost cause in terms of what you offer. But remember, the FTC is not the final arbiter of this.
It's not the one. Right? Yeah, they're not the ones that you should be worried about. Absolutely.
And we will know if Microsoft's strategy was successful in terms of their concessions by whether the CMA next month and the EU the month after that recognizes those concessions and says that those work for us. Right?
The CMA is irrelevant. Really, it will be a help to the FTC, but the main test is the FTC.
No. Wait a minute.
But the concessions have failed.
You know what? But you know why that's like honestly, to Everborn's point, you know why? And I agree with you, Everborn. The reason why we say that the FTC is not the main ball game is America is a type of system where we can always have more to say. You tell me I'm wrong. Give me some money. Give me some time. There's another adjudication house where we can re-adjudicate this entire fight. Whereas on your side of the house, if everything is done above board, if process is followed, and a final decision is reached, you are SOL. You're done. And there's nothing else to it.
And what they try to do is line up the concessions so you're not giving one jurisdiction 2 years, but the other one's 10 years, and the other one's no Game Pass. They want to get the concessions aligned. So they may have gone, and again, we don't know this yet. Well, the proof will be in the approvals
in
right?
January and February.
So and in terms of the FTC, they don't need to convince the FTC. This lawsuit, when Lina Khan got placed in that position, this lawsuit was a foregone conclusion. The question, who they need to convince, is a federal judge, and they were going by. If you go and you look at the Illumina Grail case, right? The administrative law judge, who's the same judge, I don't know if it's the same actual judge, but it's the same branch of that agency, right? Yeah. The same administrative law branch threw out the FTC's case because Illumina made an open offer to the rest of the industry to also access these blood test things that they were buying from the company. So it could very well be that FTC was going to do what they do, but they needed to offer the 10 years because that would allay the EU's concerns, who everyone thought would be the hardest to convince when this first started, right? They could now, and my whole point in saying all this is I think there are two separate conversations. And I think we need to let the lawyers and do whatever they need to do. But that does not forgive the gaming side of the house for not delivering in 2022.
And that's where we align with you, sir. That right there, that part, they can walk and chew gum at the same time because they chose to walk and chew gum.
Exactly. That's the point. That's the whole point. You don't ignore the business while trying to fight for the business. You'll have to run the business, especially when you've just started to make a resurgence and new promises, covenants of quality delivery. We're a new Xbox. We listen to you. Power. That's still like up in the air, the conversation around that. Most powerful console. We won a lot of ticks at the start of that basis on power. And that still hasn't done it. Whatever the reason, industry, cross-gen.
That's because the marketing was so good that we believe the hype.
Yeah, but there it goes. It failed.
Let the IT infrastructure guy in the room tell you, technology-wise, they are right. How it's manifested is how it's manifested. But technology-wise,
but that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter. It's not that.
It does matter because just because you have the best hammer in the world doesn't make you doesn't mean you make the best house. Right. If you have Insomniac, you can have a Switch and still make great games. Who knows?
We can't.
Doesn't mean the tech is wrong.
But we can't run around saying, "Oh, most power." What good is the most powerful?
Yeah,
the fastest.
If you don't have one next gen game,
doesn't mean it.
You don't have one next gen game in 2 years, and you're talking about power. Your flagship game doesn't have features that you touted, and you talk power. What's going on? It's like, come on, man. Let's be real. That's a fat L. Whenever it fixes itself for whatever reason, still. Right now, 2 years in, because we can't look into the future unless we're talking about future trajectory on a granular level, or because there's so many facets to this game. But on terms of power, right now, 2 years later, it's just like we are here now. End of year, that's just like not enough because we want better performance, and by performance I mean frames. But yeah,
let me say two other things, like to this whole thing. So the one thing I said to people when I saw the whole controversy was, Microsoft knew that this year, because it's very clear. I mean, at least to me, it's very clear that they were making these decisions about holding back things that they've already announced. There's no reason that they wouldn't have to show these things. They could even show CG trailers. They were a no-show at the Game Awards. They did not release. They pushed back their AAA titles, which I predicted they would do. But that's neither here and it wasn't. I knew when the ABK deal was announced, and I saw Sony pushing back. I said it months ago that they were gonna basically shit the bed for the rest of the year until the deal is closed because they want to look weak. Now that is not my fault as a consumer, right? And what I said to people was Microsoft knew that we, as the fans, the supporters, the customers, would be upset. And they calculated that this is what they believe, is that we will forgive them if they can close the deal. And so if they have calculated for our ire, why can't you? Meaning they expect you to give them shit for this, and they're betting that you'll forgive them. So why can't you give them the constructive criticism that they've earned, or the criticism that they've earned, right?
Yeah.
And
that is why we believe your smoke is righteous. Continue, man.
So the thing is, Microsoft knows we are going to complain. They figure they can make it up to us later. That remains to be seen. But if they know you're going to complain, then you should complain, right?
You should complain. Now, that's right.
Yeah.
Now what happens next?
Well, here's the flip side. Go ahead, everyone. Give me the flip.
The flip side is I believe that everything you said was righteous, even the things that I don't necessarily agree with. But if I can say you're entitled to your opinion, you're entitled to be upset, and that's fine. I don't think it's fair and I'm not saying you said this to me because you didn't, but there's this sentiment where if I'm not upset, it's because I'm a corporate shill, right? And that's the part that I don't like.
So you're not upset?
Everyone, there is one piece of that
you don't have to be upset. This is my appeal of my vitriol.
Well, so everyone, one thing, guys, one thing real quick. I think possibly the reason why you're skewed in that direction is because look at the snake. Look at the snake eating its own tail. As soon as he put that out, right, you have folks who, by and large, should also be upset because, hey, you guys are diehard Xbox fans, and you've been waiting for the calendar year of 2022.
You've got given you what you wanted, right? Shitting on Sony for the same reasons
as well, right? And whether you're upset or not is not the point. But they're out in droves, ready to tar and feather this man in the streets,
which is wrong, right?
Exactly, and those are the guys who possibly are being spoken to as being corporate shills, not necessarily you and me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because they're going out of their way to be ridiculous.
Don't even come into the same universe, bro. I thought that was abundantly clear. Today, as an example of that, I shared a guy's image. He says, Gaz's channel is dying. I get more views than him, and his views are 75 views and 3. And that's his screenshot that he used. I'm trying to show to people like the stupidity that anyone who's complaining, these Peter guy, all of these are hardcore. Half the time they don't even probably play, and if they play shit. But they are crying about the brand against me for wanting it to do better for the reasons that I criticize. Like, I want it to do better. If it wasn't abundantly clear, if I expressly say it, and I'm not saying it to pacify you because you're a bunch of idiots. I'm not you two. I'm talking about these people who are going crazy.
I was like, damn, yes.
It's like, think about what I said. I think it's embarrassing, and the thing is soft. You need to deliver in the exclusives. I'm fed up. Deliver it. Always your point in this space, because you promised. These are covenants that you've made publicly and acknowledged your shortcomings. Phil Spencer said it this summer. Like, we understand the value of consistency and quality. Those are purposely elected to pick those words for a reason.
He said that, and then came to the Game Awards, smiled at the camera, and showed
exactly. He smiled uncomfortably, and he was like,
"Yes, Sarah Bond was smiling right next to him."
So that the contrast between Sarah Bond, Sarah Bond's smile actually looks like quite natural, like almost like distracted and looking at someone behind Phil Spencer. She's looked at him for a bit, and then she just kind of did a really good glance somewhere else. It didn't look like, shit.
Phil was awkward. Like, get me out of here.
I mean,
despite Sarah Bond's nice, like, natural background going like that, Phil still looked uncomfortable, and there are only 2 people on that frame. So it's just like, come on.
Let me ask you a question. Is there a world...
He did not want to be there. He did not want to be there.
Right, but my question is, why was he there? Right?
Yeah.
And it really makes me wonder if the lawyers are in the driver's seat at this point. Right, you haven't even heard Phil.
What does that do?
No. I'm not. This is not. So this is another thing, right? I think that there are 2 separate conversations, right? explaining a thing or delving into a thing is very different from excusing a thing, right? So we can say that 2022 was the worst year in Xbox history. It was inexcusable. You are testing everyone's patience. But we can also say, have a completely separate, objective conversation of, well, what is this strategy here? That doesn't make it worth it.
My next video, actually, yeah.
Right. So, and I feel like sometimes that gets lost, right? Because the way I like to explain it,
the way I deliver it is quite aggressive, so it doesn't allow for, well, what can we delve into the details, which we're doing here, but we don't do that. That's one of the problems of the format, of the manner in which I deliver the content, because you're battling for people's attention. You want to relay your point. At the same time, you want some kind of poise in your videos to deliver a hard-hitting content, because I take some pride in the quality I produce, and even if it's little touches, people might not see it. I do as an editor. So, like, you have to deliver all of that. You're battling against this constrained period of time and general time limitations, courtesy of life. So you're doing and balancing all of that. And when you deliver it in a strong venom, it's done with sincerity, because ultimately I stripped down my time to those base arguments. Problem is, nuance isn't allowed in that format. I'm playing to aggressive, angry beat.
Gaz, I will defend you a little bit here, because I don't think timing and more resources and more energy devoted to explaining your point is necessary, right? You're there to have a punchy, satire-driven.
I think I'll do that and go live. Right, exactly. Anyway, we got 2 hours.
He's there to snap the fingers. I said what I said. Get the debate started, and then peace out. That is the sauce.
Exactly.
People don't understand
on Go
that.
Live,
that's their problem.
We spend. The thing is, most of our popular content is our podcast are starting to get more views than it's only at 5-6K. It's tiny, but still, it's getting more than some of my videos at 3.5. Yeah. The video we're talking about only has 3,500 views. My bloody Instagram stories get more than that.
That's the hardcore.
It's different. It's stupid on Instagram. No one follows me on Instagram. But was I going to say, like, ultimately, it's just one video, which, in my opinion, wasn't even as scathing as I wanted it to be because of detail.
You've been worse. You have been worse. That's why. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I said most people that took offense at the video have not been paying attention to your content, because that was very tame.
Yeah, that was so tame. I was just like, wait. All it took was a video. I've been shitting on them on XNC. I've been on them Go Live.
This is another thing, though. I think that for people, I think there are people that are still upset that at your like Halo stance, right?
I think you're trying to say it's like, look, it's getting done. Like, just can we move on from it? Because
we've
done it.
I don't agree with that.
What do we talk about?
Right,
you can move on when they move on. They ain't moved on. Why should you? Like, what's up with that?
I mean, do you want me to feign interest in an area I don't care for? Like, fine. Okay, let's go into the detail of Halo. I don't hardly talk about Halo. The official Halo have blocked me because of my complaints to them. And you know why? You know why they blocked me? It's because I replied to John Junisic, and I said he was like, he made some like the numbers started to creep up a little bit, and he did a really like weird tweet, like where it went above his station. I'm like, I pointed out to what he said earlier, which is like, will you, I don't remember the context, because will you consider them as bad actors? Referring to the fact that when the game launched on the multiplayer, loads of Australian people everywhere, even the UK, there's no server browser, and you've got broken, and on top of that, you've got a broken net code, and it's so bad. Like that,
the desyncing and all that. Yep.
Bro, the desync is so embarrassing. People don't realize how much disparity in what actually happens on screen and thing is on Halo. And they had another blog.
They've come a long way, though. They've come a long way. But you are absolutely right. Where they started was real bad.
They started where they was broken, but there's still bits that are broken. People don't. And it'll always happen. It's always happening. But you've not in your defensive stance of fixing those problems, and then you're starting to get there. what's happening to meaningful content and roadmap.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, but isn't that the weird thing, right? And 343 is one of the biggest, and we're not going to
roadmap
devolve
is
into
horrendous.
343. 343 is one of the biggest like studio by resources out there. You'd think they'd be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, meaning fix what's broken in the back and have another team that's maybe making new content. But it didn't seem to work that way. It is what it is.
I don't want us to get stuck on Halo because that's like
no. We're actually at the end of this show. We're creeping up on 90 minutes, on 100 minutes instead of 90. Right. So we're gonna get out of here
soon. But just with Halo, like in hindsight,
I'm okay. I can chill for as long as you want.
Oh, fantastic! But we're talking
in hindsight. I think that wouldn't it have been amazing if they would have just had Forza be their game,
waited till Forge was done before they released the game,
come out now. And
I said this delay Halo, the hashtag that I abused even to this day as a joke.
No, but like, admittedly, because I don't play any multiplayer, I was like, I want the single player, right? Which I was still very happy with, and I
wasn't. Yeah.
But again, everybody's opinion is
an opinion.
Ultimately, was.
But the point I'm making is, imagine if Halo, being relatively complete now, came out with network co-op and Forge and all the maps that it has today, and it launched, and Xbox players, while having nothing for the year, instead had Halo. While the PlayStation brothers and sisters got God of War, it would have been
one thing though. I hear you, Everborn, but one thing that's a problem with that, which is a wonderful dream. I know, but the problem there is they had already promised and failed once already. So when Gaz, this is the thing. This is the thing.
If you value
when Gaz pointed out that when he started his hashtag delay Halo campaign, that would have been the second delay, poison pill. It would have never gone over, right? Had they been smart the first time that delay was necessary and just kind of put the kibosh on the next time around and really delayed it properly, then we're talking, right? But at that second delay already, like it's coming out this year, and then you delay it again. Oh, that would.
How much evidence do you need that the studio is mismanaged or has been mismanaged?
The thing is, we're saying this, or people were saying this from the outset, right? They are looking at their technical debt. They knew what they had to deliver. They knew what they wouldn't have ready.
Excuse.
So and again, this is me saying this in hindsight, but like, Halo would have been amazing right now after the first party year they had, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but I mean, after the first party year they had, they probably would have delayed it this year as well because they wanted to look weak.
No, they didn't have to delay Halo. Halo's a thing that they have. I don't think
you wouldn't know about it.
That's a fantasy world. But the point is, I think the way I like to look at all these things. One is, okay, what did I get as a gamer to play? And then second, what's the corporate Game of Thrones here? What's the strategy? What's the risk reward? And talk about that strategy objectively and separately from the shortcomings that they have as delivering what they promise. Because I think
they have all these points to management. There are fundamental problems. No, you're not delivering what metric is left for you to assess a win here or where it should be. None. What? Like you're gonna go on an abstract one. I'm talking about in the space here. Like, what is Microsoft doing? Like, tactically, the studios. We have seen nothing. What metric is the main one? The first party content, and that's been really quiet. Despite the fact they have a multitude of studios, and the console was revealed with Hellblade, and nothing is
based on that history. Based on that history, now they're talking about potential 12 games in the next 6 months.
And all that.
Do we have confidence they'll make it?
Well, see, it's a bit more nuanced because who the studios are delivering are pretty. There's a lot there with Starfield and Redfall and Turn 10. Turn 10 have sat quietly, fine tuning this next gen game, despite whatever. That game is the one that's already pushing the power of what the Series X should be doing. If you watch Digital Foundry and some of the new tech they're using, it's impressive that how are they doing 4K 60 with ray tracing. So that studio is going to be incredible next year, and the promise of that is great. So Forza has always been that win. That's great. I'm not worried about that. They banked on Redfall and Starfield. This is a studio that quite important. You just acquired ZeniMax. You're talking about this deal that was predicated on the notion of lots of synergy between the Xbox team and Bethesda when they were developing the games. And the delay signifies quite a bit of. They also miscalculated. Because the game engine had the release date on it, so you've committed strongly to it, and then you've delayed it. I'm still confident in that game. I'm still confident in
the date was
after they delayed Halo after giving a date. So it's almost as though,
and the Halo's backlash was bad. To get a studio final failing, a game's visual so bad that became a literal meme that people were just shocked. Think about it. They released Slipstream purposely 2 years prior to that. Slipspace, sorry. Slipspace prior to that, 2 years before that, for a reason. A flagship title. Look what they can create. And it was the visual quality of it that we said, damn, those rhinos look sick. Everything, the grass, the grains in the sand. That was all just Halo
a CG
Infinite.
Trailer by a different company.
Yeah.
That was by a different company. It wasn't even.
That's so bad. That is so bad.
So let me put
and the
some
studio got murked twice. Sorry, Halo 4, they fucked up multiplayer.
Going, bro.
They copied Call of Duty. That's what they did. You finally get a chance to deliver, and then you fucked that up. You copied the mainstream game. People, when they start to take on a legacy title, like particularly Halo, you're like, we must maintain the sanctity of it because the fans can't even reconcile Sprint for some of these. I don't give a shit about Sprint. Yeah, people do, and they're so against it. And then this studio takes it on and fucks up multiplayer by copying Call of Duty. What? Boom. Next time, 343 fails with the Master Chief Collection. A time where Xbox needed it. The game was broken.
I will always defend the Master Chief Collection because I understand what that uplift was. I understand that was an impossible dream that they kept working until they figured out. The problem there was messaging. They should have never told anybody until it was actually done.
Exactly.
They should have never told anybody.
Why? Because Microsoft panicked to rush everything.
The technical thing that they did in order to that thing is a living Halo museum, and it's impossible. It should have never worked. But it works now. It just took a long time to get there.
And they made a decision to commit back to it 2 or 3 years later. They didn't then okay, now we can do it. They're
And I was part of the Insider program the whole time. They have literally since that time, I'm talking countless updates to the point where it is now that impossible dream has been met. But the problem is, when would you have announced that? Because it would have taken you years to actually get
exactly.
Go ahead, Everborn.
I think this is, and I'm not endorsing this feature because I think it's unfortunate, but I think this is more of a feature than it is a bug with them, right? They seem to have a philosophy of fixing it in post. We talk about how you guys made some examples, but we can also look at Sea of Thieves. We can also look at even Grounded, and I'm not saying it launched badly, but it is a lot more than what it was when they launched it because they smartly specifically said this is a beta, right? But effectively,
I think Grounded's done well from the start.
No. But my point is, people allowed them to take the time they needed because they marketed it as a beta. And I wonder if they did that with Master Chief and called it a beta, and then said the 1.0 release was when it was actually working, that the
if they strung people along correctly, if that would have been different.
So that's one thing. The other thing is, and just to throw some more wood on the fire, right? What does it say that they bought Bethesda, and Bethesda are releasing 2 games before their own Xbox Game Studios, who they had bought 2-3 years prior?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You tell me.
Right?
I'm not allowed to make this point because people get pissed.
Oh, come on now! Like I told you, you are among friends here. Make whatever point you want.
Now we could argue
I'm
that this
joking.
is,
I'm like,
we could argue that this is why they bought Bethesda, because Bethesda knows how to deliver, and if they get Activision,
and I mean,
one thing you can say about
fair,
Activision is they know how to
be
ship.
fair, because we're gonna be fair out here. To be fair, in the same way, Insomniac was bought, and then they put PlayStation 5 on their back the whole time, right? So maybe you bought them to expedite the process of getting games out, just like they did Bethesda, right?
Which is fine. Now, the only other thing I will say, because again, this is Everborn the Pragmatist. I have because I've come to peace with the fact when they announced this Activision deal, and when I saw Sony pushing back, I've come to peace back in maybe May or June, and we can go back to the shows where I said we're not getting anything this year, right? Doesn't make it right, but
I do remember you saying that 2022
right?
was a wash.
Yes.
did you say that early
I
on?
said it. I said it back
he
in
said
May.
that a long time ago. He's like 2022 is a
Really?
wash.
And I said specifically because of, and I knew this
what brought him
before we
back?
got to E3.
Do you know what brought him back?
What? Yeah, why? Why did you say that? That's quite insightful for you to say that. Then
Elden Ring brought him back. He was done with gaming. He was like, "No, I'm done this time." Oh,
was that the reason
was a
why?
wash.
Well,
Elden Ring.
Because you liked it so much, or because
well, so there's 2 conversations there. I was like not enthused about like gaming as a whole in 2022, and then but like strategically, I had said that Xbox is just not going to do anything specifically because of this Activision deal, because they are going to try to look weak. And then they delayed Starfield and basically had a garbage E3 show, and then didn't show up at this thing. And it is all in service of that main thing. I don't
think they purposely delayed Starfield because of the regulations.
Yes, I do believe that.
Really?
I believe they allowed it to be delayed. Yes,
that's bad. Can you imagine that? You're giving me ammo like that?
Absolutely.
I would not.
He's got digital
I wouldn't say that. I didn't say that.
Everyone has said that. He has said that many times. It's strategic. That whole
why is he going after Everborn on Twitter? Go make his life hell. He is going way worse than I do. He said Microsoft purposely delayed the games because of regulators. They don't give a fuck about you. Fuck, he's got to get this.
Not only that, hold on. It gets worse. I said, and I'll say it again right now, but I've been saying this for months. Microsoft knows that we are full of shit, or they're not. Meaning they know that we'll cry and hoot and holler, and if 2023 comes around and they close the deal and they put out those games, that everybody's gonna look at them like, oh, they're geniuses, and forget all the bullshit that's happening right now. And they know it.
You vastly overestimate Microsoft's planning and intelligence, especially in this field. Hey, unless they're like, is this Dune? Are the Bene Gesserit Microsoft who have been planning for centuries? The Xbox One's failed generation was part of our estimation and planning.
I won't go that far.
I won't to give birth to Phil Spencer. He becomes the prophet to save everyone.
And the other thing is, another thing that I have been saying is that what we are seeing now, today, with the lack of deliverables for Xbox in terms of first party, I do think they're doing very good with Game Pass and getting games in there. But in terms of first party, what we are seeing today is a result of the lack of investment from 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, it's been a long time. 5 years it's been.
Right.
But 2018 happened.
Right. But what I'm saying is 2018 happened, right? But basically, before 2018, and what the hell were they doing, right? So they are paying the price now, and they deserve every piece of criticism for it.
Yep.
But they're paying the price now because of their lack of investment.
We've given them so much time. We have aged.
No, but remember though,
I'm not giving them time.
remember,
I'm
but
not
guys, remember though, games take that long to make. I mean, look at Starfield is different, but look at the other two.
Sony has this magic
listen
formula.
up.
But
listen,
Sony was investing
look
5
at,
years ago.
Exactly. Look at Deathloop, and that's exactly my point. Look at Deathloop and look at Ghostwire Tokyo. They invested in those money hats 5 years ago. So when they released, they had the receipts for you. That 5 years ago when Xbox didn't invest, that's why those games are now released and they're locked up on PlayStation side.
Remember,
and even your first party had to go there. Explanation doesn't mean agreement,
right?
They failed or their own metrics, though, their own estimated release date.
Explanation is not endorsement, but it makes sense. It explains why it is that all of a sudden, even your now first party studios releases PlayStation games instead of your own, right?
Absolutely, but we know they've been caught on
that money ground for years. That's what they're doing. They're seeding the money.
So Ryan McCaffrey, I think in 2018, wrote or tweeted that it marks the start of Microsoft making that change, wasn't it? That was 2018. Yes. And even he was quite scathing in his assessment. Worse than me. Absolutely. He said, Mike, Phil Spencer gets a D. I didn't say he gets a D. I didn't even say
face to the Xbox fans.
Oh my God. And like he said he gets a D. And a lot of people, the problem is, okay, something. Everyone secretly, even my detractors of the Xbox.
Oh, they agree with you.
I'm sure. They agree with me.
They're just upset that you're the one coming out there speaking, saying it that way because when you do, that means the console warriors can come out.
And if they don't agree,
you're giving
they're
ammunition. Is what the problem is.
They're not thinking about it. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is.
Well, see, that's actually where I push back a little bit, right? Because we don't like. I can understand. So when we say if you don't agree with me, then you're fooling yourself. Like
there's
I don't think that allows
to. It's not like it's
a debate.
I mean, all it was is if you listen to what I'm saying. All I'm saying is I think they look weak. They should offer more. They need to deliver. 2022 was embarrassing. Everyone agrees with me. I say in 2023. You have to deliver. I'm not saying you won't deliver, but at least now someone has to apply pressure on you because you, despite fixing and striving to fix things, you need to fix things faster. Because why should we give you the benefit of time? Our time is valuable too. You are $1 trillion company. You can devote resources, but you can't do it for something like marketing. Now we're expecting you to sort your studios out. What's the excuse with that? They can't market the thing that they have. But it doesn't matter. It's just there are some fundamental things, like even as a base consumer, you should have the attitude of someone who has been scorned for an entire generation. I want to demand better. These are your promises. You failed. You delayed this and that. They still didn't hit the way you should have. Okay, now where's next? Nothing this year. Right. Okay, now you're taking the piss. Nothing for the whole year after everything you promised. You have to deliver in 2023, or you're taking the piss.
At least show me something at the Game Awards to get me hyped for 23. Right?
Absolutely nothing. So, but that's excused. Apparently, there's this mass conspiracy. Microsoft just so scared of the FTC could not even reveal games that they have already announced that have been specifically mentioned in FTC
I actually
documentation.
Believe that.
How can you believe that? I mean, what? They can't use Google? They will not do that research? Fine. But then ultimately, you're saying they're deadlocked from now marketing their games up until August when the case is going to be heard?
I mean, if you, wait a minute. Hold on. If you're fair about it, look at God of War's marketing, right? Even Sony's is susceptible to those strategic moves, right?
So there's several things here. So again, whether we get upset at them, and I believe that that's righteous smoke, right? But we can also why do you think they didn't show anything at the Game Awards? Like, forget about what they should have done. Why do you think they made that decision? Why do you think
they probably don't have anything to show, or they didn't have the foresight to show? Their marketing is bad.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Because
Why?
they don't
Let
have
me tell you why I don't
anything
believe
is ready. Nothing is ready to be shown right now.
it. Look at the
Out of
vid doc they
23
did.
studios.
They
I
could
wouldn't
do.
wait.
They could have
We're
done.
so starved. You could see bloody people can. What was the other studio that delivered? That hasn't done anything yet. My brain's gone blank now. That they hire. Oh no! Oh God, it's gonna annoy me now. I'll find out. Not Machine Games. They're good. The other studio, the Compulsion Games.
Yeah.
Compulsion.
Yeah, that's the one where it's like, okay, you have.
We haven't even seen like a
something to
CG
prove here.
trailer from them.
But showing something could be as simple as a CG trailer. It takes nothing to show something. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It is a conscious decision, at least in my opinion. Again, this doesn't mean that they don't get
so what
all
Everborn
the
is saying,
smoke.
if I'm not mistaken, is because it is just so obvious that they had the opportunity to show anything and they didn't.
Even a
it
CG
means
trailer.
they're
I'm not
doing
talking
it
about
on
gameplay.
purpose.
They could have showed.
If they
They
kept
could have
doing it
shown
on
a repeat
purpose.
commercial of something, right?
Yeah.
There is fully produced Redfall content. They released an 18-minute vid doc the other day, which I thought was amazing. They could have showed more than that because not a lot of people saw that vid doc. There's things they could have showed. They specifically
they could have
chose to not
regurgitated
show
content
things.
and they specifically showed
Right?
nothing. So
Now,
so to
again,
that point,
that's
Everborn
not my
is leaning
fault
on the
as a
I'm
side of
gamer.
going to say what they're going to do. The Starfield documentary playing out with the Game Awards. You fell asleep when the Al Pacino
I'm saying
walked
you
in. Now you're going to
can cut
have
it
a
up.
video
They could
for
have
people
tried,
in a
basically.
boom
They
boom
could've-
boom show.
I'm not
That's
saying they show the
crazy.
whole vid doc. I'm saying you can cut the footage up from that.
Which one? There
and
was no
make a
new
commercial.
footage.
What's that? I didn't hear
Sorry,
you.
there was no new footage in Starfield in that.
No, I'm
sizzle
just saying
reel.
that. I'm saying they could have
What
cut
do you show?
up footage.
What could
from
they
the
show at the
Redfall
Game
vid
Awards?
doc.
Well, what
right?
could they show? Like for something sufficient at the Game Awards, what could they show?
The footage from the Redfall vid doc, which was 18 minutes, and it had
We're
like
that
5 minutes of
starved,
footage.
ladies and
and cut
gentlemen,
that.
that the footage from the vidoc would be sufficient.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's something. It's not about me being starved specifically. I am saying it was a conscious decision to not
Then
show
they're all
something.
stupider than I thought.
Which is fine. We can. That's totally
That
fine. to
didn't
think
even
it's the
come
wrong
into my
decision.
estimation. I didn't think they were stupid enough. They're just inept enough. And there's a deeper story. I have a question on their management of their first party studios. There's a massive question mark.
So, well, let me ask you a
around that.
question about the management, right? Now, and
Okay.
this is a very serious question. What if the thing they needed was time? And let me finish that question before you come, because I know
This
your
is
person's
cyclical argument.
right?
This is the movie Arrivals. We've gone
No,
back. This is
No.
time. We talked-
So what I'm saying is, if 2023 comes out around and they do what you asked them to do, which is release Starfield and it's good, and Redfall and it's good, and Forza melts your face, and then they do one more or two more in the second half of the year. If they do that and they have 5 AAA releases, regardless of whether they have Activision or not, will you say that, oh, the management is shit after they put out 5 games? And I'm not saying they're going to do that.
No.
So my point is, so there is a concept, there is an idea of, if they actually pull off and keep the promises that we should put pressure on them to deliver on. If they actually deliver on that, we aren't going to say they're mismanaged. So saying they're mismanaged says that we need to get rid of or make changes in the management now, when it could just be that all they need is time.
Because ultimately, if you're saying is need is time, how much time? Can any of us answer that?
I mean, can we be clear that Starfield will release in 2023?
How much time?
We all
6 months.
can we
That's
all
what they
at
need.
least? Well, hold on.
Is that what?
Yes, that's exactly what they need. 6 months.
Well,
I
can we be clear that Starfield will release in 2023? Can we be clear on that? Is there no way that it will slip?
Better.
I think every
And
game
when it
is
releases,
being released,
when
not
it
delayed.
releases-
I'm not expecting one of those to be delayed.
When
that would
it
be
releases
bad,
in
but it won't be
2023,
delayed.
are we expecting that there will be Bugthesda, or are we expecting a new standard in quality? Because that's the
expecting
determining
Bugthesda.
factor in my estimation.
I'm expecting Bugthesda, but I'm not that salty about Bugthesda. I don't care about.
I mean,
that's
when I say
different.
Bugthesda,
The
I'm not talking about.
Bugthesda. doesn't
when I say
mean that
Bethesda-
Microsoft were inept at fixing the studio. It just means it speaks more to the nature of the design of Bethesda's games.
Okay.
Bethesda's games are
But
so
that
systematic,
won't be
built on a
that won't be
multitude
held
of
against them
systems.
as long as the game is good and all of that.
People
You
have
will
a,
not hold that against
I personally forsake. I don't put much weight in the bug tester thing. I never did. I was like, no
Okay,
game actually does this. Like,
sure,
at
especially
this
the more
depth.
complicated you make it.
Yeah,
there's
I
always
really,
gonna be something. Yeah.
they really have a good vision of how to deliver their games. Even though I haven't actually completed last Fallout, but I just want to play that again. Time multiplayer be gone. I'll be playing that, but ultimately, this game, even for me specifically, because it's set in space, means a lot to me about personally, but also objectively. If you look at this, is going to be the highest scoring game for Xbox, by the way, for a long time. Most likely, that's what people are expecting. Other than Forza, with the exception of Forza.
Well, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say, will it get treated fairly? Since
Since
You mean
people
reviewers?
review it?
Yes, the Xbox stink.
There's an Xbox stink, but there's an undeniable quality as well. Xbox has shown that it can, Metacritic wise, averages 84. I think that's what Colt said. Isn't actually that far. It's actually pretty good. I think it's on par with PlayStation generally because they have more exclusives. The quality spread is wider, but Microsoft has the same score because it's a narrower set of games. But 84 is really good in that sense. But for that, but it's a bit disingenuous because of the number. Sony's spread is wider, more consistent.
Let me put something out for you, and we'll end our stream with this, okay? And I want you to give me your final notion and basically two Everborn's like question. Let's expound a bit on that, right? What is that metric like? Actually, physically, logistically, we're here again.
Where
December
will I
2023. Right, December 2023.
What will I be happy with?
And what have they done to make you go, okay, all that smoke they gave me, all right, they're good now. What does that look like for you?
That's
How
a
do
good
they
question.
buy your forgiveness?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your number? Like,
it's a complicated topic because it's quite fluid. Because if say, okay, Forza hits well and reviews well, how well? What does it get reviewed good on? Like, what do we consider?
86.
Nah, I think Forza
90s.
should be a 90s game.
Fine.
That should be a 90s game. Because Forza Horizon got in the 90s and a great game, but this one, Turn 10, is doing something special. And I remember it's going against Gran Turismo, which already has a bit of a stain behind after this release, despite its Metacritic score being pretty okay, despite the fact
getting
that
some awards.
The next day they released the microtransactions. But now
right after the reviews that dropped.
That is bad. Like that's what soils that's ruined Gran Turismo's. People don't realize that. Okay, GT is viewed negatively. Actually, generally, people are like almost indifference. You see PlayStation guys tout it. I'm not saying it's disingenuous, but a lot of it does feel sometimes often forced. That Gran Turismo is a good game, which is why I'm going to play it this holiday season because I want to play Gran Turismo because I've been set off on races and I need to get back on it and I want to see how good this game is mechanically. But so Forza has to have a high. It has to be in 90s. Right?
Forza's in the 90s. Is that your metric?
And I love Turn 10, and they look really have so much confidence.
Or is there more?
No, it has to be more. You can't just look at one racing game as the savior for the whole.
And then what else? Like again,
let me explain to you what I think would constitute a good year for Microsoft. In which case, all of this nonsense is almost ratified.
You will come back and you'll turn to the Xbox community and go, "Look, guys, I'm here. They've done it. It's a wrap. They've done it."
It doesn't need to be like that. People keep viewing as
I was ridiculous. I'm being hyperbolic.
No, but I need to make this point because people keep saying this and it's so utterly stupid. Well, what if they bang though? I'm like, all right, what is your metric of actually success? 2023 washes away everything. Like the question is just good. Look. Let me tell you all the facets of
like what I'll let you speak. To me, what they need to do to change my mind is not just 1 year. Go ahead. you can continue.
That's a great point. The people around me aren't even willing to listen to that point. They will not listen to that point. But forget that. Even just to pacify them, because they'll say you're changing the goalposts. When you're going to be happy. So I will give you the grace.
To me, it's a healthy flywheel of games. Healthy, continuous.
Exactly. And now the words were purposeful in the video. From now on, from 2023 and every year after that, those are the words I used for precisely that reason. Like Microsoft has the burden of proof that needs to dishelve. The whole failed generation is no mean feat. People committed to your console. That's a whole generation that you didn't deliver. So the burden is higher. And now you have more studios. Burden gets higher because you get less concessions. Time is also waning. That's where it's come to a fray. But for a successful show, to answer your question, give you this year, for that audience who will not tolerate even my and your agreed assessment that it should be longer, and a sustained period of positive hits year after year, I agree with you, but people don't agree with us on that point. So just to give them some meat, I will say in 2023, based on the cards you'd be dealt with. Sorry, my mouth's dry.
No, please go ahead.
Based on 2023, and what you could possibly release. Need to have a Forza. Because of you failed in delivering on time, the burden and standards get higher. So Forza, Redfall, and what's it called? Starfield. The big one. I was thinking I've already said it. Starfield. Starfield specifically, and so that it goes deeper. Starfield specifically is very important because this is part of this following this big acquisition. You need to show the synergy between Microsoft. How did you help?
60 FPS Starfield.
I'm actually I'm not expecting a solid 60 on this game. Okay. I'm sorry. I'll be.
But you expect them to try for 60, or are you okay with locked 30?
They should do. They definitely should do. If they fail, they fail. I've low. And part of the low expectations actually to probably help me kind of pacify myself. Well, I really want this game to be good, so I'll mind the 40 because the space, it's Interstellar, the game. I need this game to be good, so I'm a bit lenient on Starfield.
Okay,
but I still think that needs to hit for so. All three. I'm even Redfall. I'd say it's an 84.
I'm excited for Redfall. I'm super excited.
It's a good game. 84 is a good score for a game like Redfall. And people may disagree with that. That's a whole conversation we can have on that point. But yeah, so all of these games get delivered.
Okay, then
you show at the very least, show us, and it's not a big ask. Show us, because I've been saying it for a while, and you guys keep saying no, show it, and they don't show it. Because no, they'll show it. We've been doing this ping pong thing for you say it's only been 2 years, but every event, that's what you've been doing. Don't fool yourself. So I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to other people who are just trying to besize themselves. But
the smokers out there,
just because the metrics to me are first party quality exclusives. Right. They're an indication of your first party output, how your inner organs are working. You've assimilated these studios because you've recently acquired them. Are they becoming part of the Xbox family? Are they actually becoming and gelling? Because we were sold not promises, but representations of shared tech between different studios. So are we going to see that? Did we see that? So
a little bit of that has already happened. We've already seen some
small examples,
studios.
Water and Sea of Thieves, and I mean to a little small degree, but the potential is there with id Tech.
Big id Tech, big boss. Yeah, I get you. Okay.
And then there's the beauty of all the IPs and working together with ABK as well. But either way, look, forget ABK.
December 2023, you're here. We have Forza hitting 90. We have Starfield hitting really high heights. We have people really enjoying Redfall, really enjoying it.
They need one more game, but yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
but that's
they
just
need, they need
one
one
more
more
game.
game that you don't know of right now. Is that
If
the
all
case?
those three bang really hard, then the fourth
Mhm.
game matters a little less because of
Okay.
how
So like a
severe is it in
Pentiment
its
double
okay,
A
quality.
let me
kind of
let me
unknown game.
clarify that, guys.
Okay.
I am saying that in the context of them actually hitting the first 6 months of next year where those games come out. That is
They
assuming
promised that it's in the
Redfall
first
doesn't get
6 months.
pushed to holiday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
They
right,
did
okay.
promise the first
right.
6 months.
That delay
absolutely.
you think talking about past the 6 months? Yeah.
Right. So if they deliver all those things and we have an amazing January through June, and then we're back to the waiting game for waiting for 2024.
That's why the
gonna
show
be
is
a problem.
important. That's why it's important.
and
for that
that is-
reason.
see what you
show
just
is
described,
important, but
Neverborn?
delivering, right?
Is
They
also
cannot
important.
have us waiting 6 months for
in a
another big
cyclical
game.
fashion. I don't
Yeah.
care about one big game. I care about, oh, I'm done. Ooh, and there's another one. Oh, I'm done. Oh, and there's that's
All right,
what
let me
I
say one
care
last
about.
thing since we have to go because I never
Yes,
got
sir.
to talk about why I have a different
Please,
view
please.
on the marketing.
Please go ahead.
And this is the
Yeah.
conversation, Gaz, this is the conversation Kay and I have been having.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
when we look at Netflix marketing, a big complaint that they get about their content is that Netflix doesn't market their things well. And this is if you listen to any movie podcast the way we do the game stuff, everyone says this. This is not like a secret, right? It's a general
It's a
thing.
known thing in the
Right.
industry.
I didn't
They
know
don't
that. I didn't know.
Netflix.
Right.
Yeah, they don't
So
like
people
the way
say
Netflix
that-
markets.
Right. So you never know when a Netflix thing is out. You only know about it through word of mouth, and then it becomes trending, and then you watch
Oh
it.
yeah, I never
Before-
thought about that. Yeah.
So they do that, but then we keep seeing these Netflix shows going to higher and higher heights, right? They just
Mhm.
seemingly show up out of nowhere, and it made
Like
me
Game
think-
Pass.
Yes, right. And they call it the Netflix of gaming. So I think there is something to having again, if you're already
Aren't they
subscribed.
buying them now? Is the market
That's
going to
is
be
one of the
doubly
most
bad?
bullcrap rumors I've heard all year.
If that happens, they will never market anything.
There's something. So if you're already subscribed, and allegedly there's 29 million people subscribed according to the
Might be
Snitch
more,
Jim Riot.
Snitch.
You have a captive audience of 29 million people that have zero barrier of entry to these things. So is it possible that they are not employing the traditional means of marketing and they can still be successful? And so the question is, part of your budget in any of these projects is spending sometimes tens of millions of dollars in marketing. But there's a different sort of marketing you can do when it's in a streaming service, and it can still be very successful. So the question is, if you can have a game that didn't use the traditional models of marketing, still soar to high heights and being the number one single player game and having being played more than Minecraft or whatever for a particular whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that evidence say that you shouldn't be?
Does that mean
about
we should shut our mouths and
over?
let them do them because they're winning? Is that
Right?
Is that the case?
Like, meaning has marketing changed? Right? Has do they need to do the traditional marketing model? Right? Is it a different set of rules when you're making content for a streaming service?
I mean, the marketing doesn't gel with what they're offering. Game Pass is the metric. They do the shotgun sizzle reel for it. The substance of that advert is it was Samsung ad really to me. They're kind of selling it like this weird commodity, but the value of Game Pass is considerable. But the marketing push, I have to always explain. I bet you guys do too. What is Game Pass to people who don't know? And I've done it to a lot of friends. I'm like, it's like I always start off with, it's the Netflix of games, bro. You get loads of games. You don't need to buy any games anymore, like unless really new ones, because my friends won't buy. Like us, they won't follow, the next, I don't know, Wolong Fallen Dynasty or something like that. They're gonna be the next big one. Could be anything. Like, and what is the next big one nowadays, apart from your 1 or 2 or 3, like God of War, blah blah blah, and Yeah. So they don't market that. They don't market Game Pass at all. There's a massive disparity between their marketing and what their business actually
but
is.
see,
Whilst trying to reconcile
you know what though,
the big
guys?
AAA, they are trying to go for that.
You know
Which is
what
fine,
though,
which is
guys?
good.
And I'm on your page as in I want to see them as the hungry, third party, the third in line in the market. I want to see them everywhere, be on billboards, be in subways, just like PlayStation does now, right? So I am on your page as in I don't see them doing as much. But then while me and Mr. Everborn Saga are having this back and forth debate, then the news comes out that this game is the highest freaking
Game Pass
game in Game Pass and also on Steam and all that. So as much as
there's a Game Pass
still
effect
feel
to Steam, right? Because all the people talking about it from Game Pass puts it in. So there's this new idea of word of this. 1 second, Kay. Mm-hmm. There's this new idea of word of mouth marketing and targeted marketing. So where you're not buying billboards, you're not doing Super Bowl ads or Game Awards ads, apparently, but you are using targeted social media marketing to people who are not in the bag. So there's an idea, and I know this because I do this with the Everborn marketing for the comics, right? Mm-hmm. I will target people who do not follow me, do not know, have not mentioned this thing before. So I'm targeting new people. So it
brand new entrants,
right?
Yeah,
we don't see what they're doing. But any service that is growing 20 and 30% per year and having big launches like this, their marketing
I don't want to overstate the success, though. I don't overstate the success of this because there's a cap. When that cap is Game Pass subscribers in totality, you're talking about 20. So I don't think Microsoft don't view Game Pass as a success just yet because Phil Spencer admitted that they were short on estimations by about 10 million. Was that 10 million? Something quite high.
And by the way, I hear you on that, but again, you know who he's talking to, right? Yeah, it's all in the weak sauce talk.
Yeah, but they have to make. They can't make erroneous or misleading disclosures
it's not to say
on
that
numbers.
It's erroneous. It's not to say it's erroneous.
A lot of it is redacted information.
Look at the context, though. But look at the context. They've released no first party, and still they're at 29 million. So maybe it's a feature, not a bug. Right? They've released no first party, and somehow they're at 29 million. They did it on the backs of these indies.
Well, they've had, like, in the previous years, like 2019, we always talk about it being 2021 being a success of Metacritic and just generally performing wide. The Forza Horizon physical sales, not play numbers, was really high as well. So that was a strong year for them. Like, it was really good for them. So
but I guess my question to you and to Everborn's point, what does it say when you and me, and I agree with you by and large, and I'm just kind of debating the thought because I'm just like, hey, it might be a new world we live in here. What does it say when we want to see them do more traditional style, hey, pomp and circumstance, right? Because that's what we want to see.
So they want to do that. They made it clear they want to.
Sure, but at the same time, these things that we consider missed opportunities, these guys are still breaking records left and right. So maybe we're not in the right headspace to understand what they're trying to say.
Are we saying our sentiments are more out of touch and irrelevant?
Maybe. I don't know.
And you're basing it on popularity of outlier titles
on the success on Pentiment, which was a critical success. I'm basing it on Vampire Survivors, which came out of nowhere and it's taken
absolutely
a lot of gamers,
that's sales for indie games that are doing the numbers and monthly active users. That should be a given with a service that is as disruptive as Game Pass. You say that it's amazing because of the quality value proposition. So why act shocked when the value proposition is hitting that number, but the numbers are still somehow stored for some reason? But what's that reason? AAA. Because ultimately everyone believes, I also believe, and I've said this multiple times before, that Microsoft underestimating their estimations, like, or they're saying he's tactical and saying like we don't expect it to grow more than this now on console. I don't agree with that.
Notion.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous notion.
But I think he was also lying.
You thought he was also lying? You can't lie like
that. Lie.
You can't lie. You can't lie.
I mean,
like
he can't lie something that hasn't happened.
Yeah,
but
true.
he's pleading ignorance on that, and really, he's just like being a little shy. No, we're not gonna get.
Well,
more than
at that time, people were worried about the whole. They were worried about the whole. What do you call it? When cloud becomes too powerful, that's the only place that gaming's ever going to live. And they were literally trying to dispel that notion and going, we're still selling it. Cloud is only this piece of it. Subscriptions are only that piece of it. We're still selling it.
Yeah,
and because of that, it seems like he downplayed. You know what I'm saying? But
it's so funny because both companies have started adopting the narratives fed by a lot of people on the posting sites. So it's literally they're too big. Oh, they got all the first parties. The first party dominance is what Xbox guys touted over PlayStation guys for ages. And then Sony come out and say they're going to kill us in the first person space because they'll have Doom, Halo, and then they'll have Starfield.
This is the game you play, right? It's the game you play. Because they're trying to get what they need to get. Everborn Saga. Before we go, I want your assessment. Because I think your and mine are pretty similar. What when we come back here and we talk about this in 2023 and it's December and we're talking to our future selves, what makes you say, okay, we were wrong, or they finally
I'm not gonna say I was wrong.
Of course, you never say that. I know you're wrong about Sega. You're wrong about Sonic, and I need them knees, but that's neither here nor there.
We don't have definitive data yet, but that's
all I'm saying is, what makes you definitive? Like, okay, they finally did it. They connected the dots. It's done. Let
me say two things. There's no way of you knowing that in 2023. Right? There's so many things that have been delayed out of 2022 into 2023. They would actually have to go out of their way to fuck up next year. So to me,
it's kind of like 2021. They're going to release games whether they like it or not. That's right.
Right. So
you have to go out of your way to fuck it up. That's why it'd be so fucking stupid.
They have to do it on purpose.
And this is the thing. So you're not going to really know if we're out of this lull or out of these issues until 2024, 2025. Really, right? It's going to take time, consistent delivery.
They can do stuff now. So if they have a January event and then they have
doing stuff, right? They have to do what you're talking
That's all I'm
about.
asking. I've not found them like,
right?
And exactly. Like Asante said earlier, they have to sustain that success.
It's the flywheel, man. They got to keep churning out,
I'll say this. I thought we had turned the corner in June of 2021 because every month they had an interesting title, whether it was first party or not, and they capped off the year with two huge games.
Yeah, I think that was a fluke. I think
but this is what I'm saying.
They regurgitated games at that point. They had no choice. They've been sitting on the shelf too long.
But what I am saying is, who is to say the first 6 months of 2023 won't
be the same
just
thing?
Be the last 2021? This is why I can't really look at what has been promised so far. I need to see them continue to do that before they say something and I can believe them again. And
the show is important,
right?
The show will do that. Depending on what they show.
But even if they show you something, will it come out when they say it will?
You hear what Everborn is saying?
It's not determinative.
Everborn is saying that Microsoft has hurt his heart. And he can't.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm a project.
I can't trust what you're saying.
Because here's the other thing. I mean, you can't. But the thing is this. Here's the other spicy thing that I'm going to say.
Okay.
If they close Activision, and they release the games that they said they were going to release, which is Starfield, Redfall, and Forza, and they close Activision, so now you add Diablo and whatever else to that, all of you motherfuckers are gonna forget every criticism you had, and you're gonna be like, Xbox
Oh,
is back, baby.
they don't even need to deliver 3. The next game, Redfall, gets hateful. They're like, yeah, done. They've already
No,
grown
but
it.
guys, I'm saying even the people that are upset with them now will.
He's saying even you will be cheerleading right at that point.
Do you think me that fickle? I'm still saying Halo delay, and you think me that fickle that I will quickly go back on it? I've made my position clear.
The sauce master himself, ladies and gentlemen.
You're gonna drink salty tears when they close Activision, and
you must be joking.
And then they're gonna release the games that we want, like Starfield, and it's gonna be your favorite.
I'm going to be unrelenting. I'm going to be the most hated person on social media. 100%. The ponies will hate me. The hardcore Xbox would hate me, and then they'll all reconcile their feelings by saying he's a jaded old person who has a really fucked up way of thinking, and I'm in that category now. And
ladies and gentlemen, all that you will be able to enjoy every moment of it when you check out the Gaz on Daily, the Game on Daily YouTube channel, which I will put in our show notes because man, we are here for it. It will be super entertaining. Gaz, never change, brother. Never change. Don't let any Xbots or ponies or nothing get your shine. Keep the sauce alive. I understand it. I love it. I appreciate you being here. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is our outro to our show. Because we hit what, almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. Yeah, that's our 90 minutes. That's what we do. And that's what we're doing here. But you know what, guys? How about you tell the people where they can find you in the new year? Any plans? I know it's onward and upward for Game On Daily. Am I gonna see you at E3, good sir? Because I already have my my hotel booked, baby. We going. It's going down.
You guys booked it. Everyone's booked it. So I was trying to get a poor group of people to get a villa with a pool and we can just get lit. But people were like, I got a wife and kids. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm actually kind of far behind on that front. So maybe I'm just being a bit unreasonable and I'm getting a pool full of hoes. You know, crazy. Apparently I can't do that. So I will do that.
You know what it is though? The Xbox community, they say E3, but they really mean like Xbox and FanFest, and that's a different kind of ball game. It's E3 adjacent, so in that respect, they've already kind of started booking tickets. That people are, but E3 proper, we're all just kind of waiting to see.
I can't wait. I can't wait to meet everyone and just get lit. It's gonna be so much fun, man. I can't wait for that. That is gonna be. That's what I went to Thailand today. I've completely or last month. I've completely forgotten about it because all I've really been looking forward to, really, because I'm quite apathetic to go on holidays now for some reason. But E3, that one, I'm like a kid. I think the reason why I am is because of E3, because that's like the holiday. I go on a lot of lads' holidays, but that is like a lads' holiday, the ultimate holiday.
Of Gaz with Aaron Greenberg with
I'm not even the big guys.
And they're literally like holding him in a headlock. I want to see.
They probably won't take pictures with me. Awesome. I don't care. Nah, I don't care about it would be lovely to meet Phil Spencer and have a. Can you imagine my passion? I'd be like trying to speak in like 50 years worth of 30 years of anguish just spilling out in 30 seconds. Phil Spencer, what the fuck are you doing?
Everybody I hear that has met
him, you guys, man. That's the main reason.
It's all love. I'm sure it'll be great. I'm looking forward to the E3 and the camaraderie and all of that. So you're definitely coming. Do you know if Asa is gonna be there as well?
I don't know about Asa. I'll be there. I don't know if Asa is going to go.
Okay. Understood. Of course. But between now and then, tell the fine people what are we looking forward to for Game On Daily in 2023? Both the website and the YouTube channel.
So thank you. I had so much fun. I could have gone on for ages, but I feel like the show ended.
It's late, brother. It's late for where you are. We appreciate your time.
I would have loved it. I could have done it for ages. I was enjoying it. I felt like the show quite early. So you can find me on GameOnDaily.com and YouTube channel Game On Daily. Right now, there's a mass jihad against me from the Xbox fans, so I'm dealing with that, but. the Holy Warrior is me. And soon,
yes,
I'll
don't
tell you.
worry. PlayStation is going to mess up very
And I'll
soon,
call him out.
and then you're going to do a sauce video, and everybody's going to forget.
Tony's gonna hate me, and then the Xbox guys will start licking my nipples a little bit. Like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I remember I said this before so many times, and I said it and before, and I'll say it again. Everyone's gonna hate me. There's gonna be a point, and I don't give a shit because I love what I put out.
He can't be bought, ladies and gentlemen.
I
He cannot
don't care.
be bought.
How many sponsorships and shit do you see? How many ads do you see? We have to do it now. Realistically, since people don't understand, all us fueling it is passion to succeed.
Yeah.
For me, it's the numbers. I want to see people see my content, and Acer is obviously with the aim of driving traffic to our site as well. But that's a long-term play. It's very expensive, and we've incurred massive debt doing it. People don't realize we never break even, but we're just going through it not because we need the business, because we could tank the business and flop. It's because we love it. It's just like now. We need to be smarter as well. So I need to push the channel more. Sorry, I don't know why I'm going on this tangent. But
no. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. We love your channel. We love the stuff that you guys bring. And I really want to see you guys continue to
it's gonna be raw.
Yeah,
it's gonna be raw content.
Absolutely.
It's always going to be truthful. You can question it down to its nucleus. I will always be with that. But it will be. I'm upping the game, more content on all platforms, and do what Everborn suggested I do, which is review games, so people can understand and build a rapport with me and my understanding of what constitutes a good game and what doesn't. Because that will then hopefully explain to people maybe we have some synergy in the way we think.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing more Game On Daily reviews. That'd be awesome, brother. Absolutely. We thank you so much for being here, man. And we're going to keep an eye out on Game On Daily, both the aggregation site and the channel, for 2023 and all the crazy things you do. I love your edits, man. I love when you go overboard. I love when there's acting. I love, and it's just crazy. I love it. It's great. Absolutely, never change.
Lion sniffing cocaine.
Oh, bro,
the fireman breaking through the window, looking at us, and you've got a pony head, me holding a plate of fake cocaine, music playing, and the smoke machine going off. And he goes, "You turn it down. You turn it down." And we're dancing, and he's come and seen this, me holding a camera, and then he goes, "We turn it down, turn the music down."
Real fire brigade,
and the guy was just like, they climbed over the fence, and then he said, "Turn the music down," and all we can hear in the background, we're all frozen, and all we can hear is, "Doot, doot, doot." I'm like, oh shit, our fire alarm's been going off for quite some time because of the smoke machine. It was so much smoke when we opened the door outside the room, the hallway, you couldn't see it. So we aired it out by the time you saw it in the video, but. For the next Source video, I'm going raw. I'm gonna try and make it my best one because these little guys need to be put in their place. Who do you think you're messing with?
And we will be here. I got my popcorn ready. We sit here, just be like,
I remember that on the show.
On your show. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm loving it. This is beautiful, brother. Keep it up, bro. Keep it up.
That was brilliant,
Mr. Everborn Saga. Another year. I guess this is season 2. This is officially a wrap on season 2, right? The next one will be season 3. Yeah. For those who know, this will be great content we will add into the feed. There will also be some on the reel content, a little preview for those who want to check it out. We will promote that as such. It will most likely be on Everborn Saga's channel. We'll do some on the reel stuff with the loud one himself, the Mag. He's already agreed to do it, so it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna talk some Hollywood and all of that. So
I want to see if we can get King David on there also.
Maybe get King David in the spot as well. Always great to talk with him. Tell the people where they can find you. Tell the people what 2023 looks like for the Everborn Saga series. I know there's a lot coming up. Games, more books. What's going down, brother?
I mean, like I say, the answer to all those questions are Everborn Saga, right? Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, most importantly, everbornsaga.com. We have a sale that's getting ready to come out where you can get all the books in the series for $50, which normally costs like $70. But because I want to get everybody caught up because we are planning 4 releases for next year in the series. 3 of them are in production. as we speak. And the game, we're working on it. I'm trying to bring in a new animator. Animation is taking way longer than I hoped and expected. But that's what happens when you're funding a whole game.
How do you do that? That's insane. You're funding your own game now.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing it. I've released a few games, mobile games before. This is going to be my first. Like, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Ariel's World, which is actually what the entire Everborn Saga universe is based on. That game, it was the #1 paid 2D platformer on Windows Phone when it came out.
No way!
And Windows Central has a really good review of it.
I did not know that.
Still on the website.
Yeah, go to Windows Central, search for Ariel's World, and Ariel is like.
Oh damn! I did not know that, bro. That's crazy.
So the man is out here achieving and succeeding. Come on, bro.
Well, succeeding to very
Ariel's World. That's crazy. That's crazy. How many talents do you have? That's insane. You write books and you make video games. What the flip? People, I make videos and I'm a lawyer and I think I'm doing something great. What the fuck? I'm not doing anything compared to you.
And I talk shit on the internet.
And it's a very successful shit talker on the internet.
But me and you both there.
Yes. But yeah, man, I'm trying to. One thing I will say, and I'm not like turning this into a thing. I'm starting to find that Twitter is killing my
vibe.
Not the vibe, but like
creativity,
my attention span. And I can't sit down to read a book or write for very long. And I feel like it's because my brain has rewired itself to consume things in these small bites of information.
So what you're saying is you've given Elon Musk too much space in your world.
Well, I mean, Elon Musk is about to give us 4,000 characters. Maybe that'll bring back the attention span. Who knows?
Don't do that, please.
But no. We have so much planned, and I'm super excited for where we're going. And we're gonna get this game out. And because Gaz, you don't know this, but I'll say it for you and for everybody else who's listening. If you don't know what the Everborn Saga is, it is 4 separate series that take place across 2 different timelines, each following a different character and telling the story from their vantage point. And it all comes together. So the Everborn Saga.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
you
it's like
smoked some DMT before it came out for that plot. 2 different consecutive timelines and telling 2 different stories at the same time.
Yeah, yep. And it all comes together, and it is like a mixture.
That's a wicked idea.
It's like the MCU, right? Because it's a different stories, and then they come together. But it is the style of it's drawn like a hybrid of Western style comics and manga. If you go to
because I've seen Everborn Saga. Yeah, I've seen it. I'm on it now. And by the way, I was looking at your review of Ariel's World on Windows.
Yeah,
Central.
There you go.
They're singing praises of this game. Right, Everborn.
If you go to everbornsaga.com and you scroll down to the bottom, you can see what one of the games we're working on looks like.
I just didn't understand the premise of it because I do watch anime and manga. So what's the theme for someone like me who looks at it and what is it?
It is effectively Lord of the Rings meets X-Men. Right? So when
good elevator pitch.
Ariel's Adventure Chapter 1.
Yep. So and that is basically telling the story of that game, Ariel's
I like the artwork, by the way. It's amazing.
So it's really why we say Lord of the Rings meets X-Men, because we have our Prince of Arcadia series, which is like The Hobbit, and then the Ariel's Adventure, and the other series are like Lord of the Rings, and it's about a war that is going to take place between Serifs and Paladins, and the Paladins are like the Muggles, if you like Harry Potter, and the Serifs, they're all born with a different sort of power that came from the old gods. So
why are the Paladins Muggles though? Sounds like a cool title. What's their power or what?
No, they don't have a power. The gods called them Paladins.
They're the normals.
They just don't have.
They're just normals. The Paladins, the name denotes some kind of esteem. So I thought, the normal ones.
the gods created them to worship them, and so they called them their paladins.
Oh,
and so
damn.
the seraphs, yeah, but the gods kind of left the world, right? And what was left behind were the seraphs, and the seraphs were sort of born. They're kind of demigods, right? Because the gods kind of made kids with some of the paladins,
X-Men
right?
Of that
so
world.
basically, the seraphs have the power of the gods, but they are mortal. And they basically tried to rule the world after the gods left, and then all the paladins got together to overthrow them, and they've been hunted ever since. So when we come into it, the seraphs are, if you display any magical abilities, you need to go in hiding because they're going to come for you and sort of like get rid of you. And so they're planning a rebellion,
extermination,
the world
basically.
over again. Yes.
So it's just genocide. There was
but now they want to kill all the paladins, right? So it's like who's right, who's wrong, and that's really where the meat of our story comes in, and that's why we tell the story in different through different characters, because we follow a seraph who is on the front lines of being hunted and then joining the remnant, which is basically the
collective
rebellion.
of the Seraphs,
right, and then right, and then we follow some paladins which is the Prince of Arcadia story, which shows you the story from the non-magic user's point of view, where they are not all on board with hunting and killing them, but they have to answer for the crimes of the people in charge. So we want to create that conflict where there's no sort of good guys, but it
doesn't really good,
guys,
man.
And guys, like, this is only one avenue of it, because every and also every book that he's doing, he's also doing an homage to video games in a different genre,
16-bit era. Yes.
So we're talking Mario
Sorry.
Brothers to then 16-bit, and then we're talking beat 'em ups, and then we're talking Ariel's Adventure, which are you remaking that, or are you making a
you
new
can
version?
see we're remaking it. You can see kind of what it looks like at the bottom of the page. We show
of the page,
the game,
and that is an homage to platformers like Mario and all of that. And then the other one and other games will be the Redlands, which
the Redlands is a 2D beat 'em up.
That's a 2D beat 'em up.
Is it just your endeavor, or both of you, or have any connections?
It's just this is the man. He is the creator of the Everborn saga.
And you do all of this?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, I do all the program. I can't draw to save my life, but I do all the coding and I do all the writing and creating and whatnot.
What do you think of? I'm sorry, I'm longing this out.
No, please.
No, talk about it.
I was going to ask about.
Speak. Yeah.
What do you think about AI art or and incorporating that?
So
that's a big topic these days. Yes.
I think it's kind of scary, right? And again, this is old man screaming at cloud, but like I work with a lot of artists, right? Yeah. And the idea that today we're taking pictures and then the AI is creating something, but tomorrow you might be able to just explain what you want.
Actually, you can do that today still. There's literally an AI hash that you can say, I want a goat holding an Xbox controller on the moon, and it will generate one exactly what you want without inputting any pictures.
So my
like,
go ahead. What were you gonna say?
For someone like you, because I'm in the same position in terms of like creative, why I don't draw, wouldn't it not be massively beneficial if you harness the power of it? Because have you used Midjourney? Like, I'm still astounded by it.
Yeah.
It is revolutionary.
Yeah,
it is. It's me and Colt spent 2 days just on Midjourney making art using all our credits, because we bought the $8 one, which we can probably upgrade because we're so excited. We're not even using for content, but for you can hone in styles, like even conceptually. You just type in the words, boom, and you want to pass that on to an artist. Look, this is the vibe I want to kind of go for.
Now in that sense, I do think it's really good because there's a certain, for everything we create, there's a certain prototyping phase that we go through where we don't really know. And again, I am not an artist, right? So everything that we have, that we see, every design that we get that comes out to the final artwork it's a time-consuming and painstaking process of back and forth to try to find a design, of me explaining something to them giving me their take, me giving them notes. That, but in and of itself, is very costly, in the thousands of dollars for when we start a new series.
Absolutely,
the Remnant series.
You're buying that time,
right? And again, there's the question of, because this is another big thing, right?
Midjourney will help you massively.
I'm gonna look at it. I didn't even think about it in that way.
I will send you the things I've just created and refined with my prompts. You'll be astounded. I'm astounded. Like, this is a whole thing. Like, it's insane detail. It's mad. I'll show you. You know what? I'll tweet some of the things about I've created on and I set the parameters. Now, Angel with VR headset. Boom, and
exactly, and it just shows up. That's right.
And you'll see what I created that will shock you. It was so beautiful. I wanted to use it on a thumbnail, but I got the aspect ratio wrong when I generate the image.
So where my brain goes just right now, just talking about this, is one of the bigger challenges that we've had with Everborn. Like, the character art and the character designs, I love them. I have no issues, right? But I have very good character artists. And environment artists are a completely different thing. And that has been a challenge for us. So because our characters are so front and center, you don't really notice that the environment is at times generic. So if we could generate
like better environments,
right?
So and that artists can have more shine as the
generate environments. One, if we could incorporate it and they can do their character art on top of that, that would be amazing. I don't know that we can, but what it can do is potentially give us references for, because if we're entering a new kingdom and I want you to feel like you're in a massive fantasy universe. You can't just draw a regular castle with a few pillars, right? You want to make it look like a massive
structure, superstructure.
Yes.
So you need detail in there, fine-tuned lines in there to denote depth of field.
But even in its current form right now, it can still assist very much, like you're saying, in like prototyping. So
let me just tell you what I don't want to see happen with this, right? Okay. Because what I saw from a lot of people was they were just using it to make selfies, right? And then
no, that's the wrong app.
No, that's
you don't understand.
Yeah,
it's Midjourney. That stupid app has completely moved people's attention away from what it is. I'll shut up. Sorry, but
it's an auto-generated. It's auto-generated creativity. Like you tell it what you want, and it, through all of its various AI training, will materialize it.
Every single thing I created can go in an art gallery. That's how good it is.
Okay, I need to look at this because I do things like super old school. Like, we still talk on Skype.
Oh my god, right? Bro! So, you can, as a creative, for you specifically, you need to download this because it can generate.
I'm gonna try it now. Is it like PC only, or is it like something you use on a?
It uses Discord to generate the art.
To generate the stuff,
and it works.
So if you have Discord installed, you just have to follow the instructions.
Type in /imagine. This is what you do. /imagine. Man on a moon with meteor flying towards a man made of neon lights. I don't repeat, man, but yeah. And it will do that, and it will do it artistically. Then on top of that, you can pull in inspiration of different artists, and it will be trying to meld those styles for that. And then you can make
knows the training of those different artists. It's trained on their style. So it can interpret their style with whatever you give
just reach me out. We'll do a call or Discord call, and I'll go through it with you. Meet you and Colt. Probably spend the whole day. Actually, he's used all his credits up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our show, and we're making the last. Oh, we're still recording, baby. We're still recording, baby. It's all good. We will
All right.
continue this train rolling. Real
It's
quick.
a good thing I
will
didn't
tell-
say what I was about to say about slow-mo.
Good thing. I will tell the fine people before we go. A lot of changes coming on this channel as well. I'll be starting doing some reviews and things. I've been given access to some hardware and accessories, technologies that I'm very very thankful for being able to get. And as such,
VR
now I'm going to
headset.
investigate, things like that, accessories, things like that. You're going to
Got
start
it.
seeing me, try my hand at reviewing these products and giving you my opinions and blah, 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 blah. But the new year will bring that, and you're going to see that from us. But thank you
Nice.
guys, everyone and all, for everybody who has spent their time with us, who has left a message on our videos. I read them all. I reply back to them all because y'all, we're still at that small clip that I can do that and reply back to people. Appreciate y'all so much. I appreciate all the amazing guests over 2022, including the returning champion, Gaz. Thank you so much again for being here. And we will see you guys next year. Keep your eye out on the feeds because there will most likely be another On The Real special for you in 2022. But until 2023, I say be safe, don't drink too much, and keep the sauce flowing. Keep that sauce flowing. We appreciate y'all.
Always shall flow.
And we'll see y'all next year. Peace out.